Hey, Mooch.
What's going on, people? I just got one word. First off, it's great to be back on CrossFire, and you know what I'm about to say. Battletoads! Let's do it, Mooch.
Hey, Mooch. They're saying there's no sound.
Uh-oh. Oh, no. Can you hear me, people?
Can you hear Pred?
Welcome to the Xbot takeover of Mooch's channel. Oh, Y9 says hear you. Hear who? Y9, who? Me? Mooch? Pred? What's going on, man?
They can hear you. I can't hear Mooch. I'm listening to it live right now.
Uh-oh.
I can hear Bot.
Uh-oh.
There's sound coming through the channel now. There's sound coming through. I heard it. I heard xBot.
Yeah, guys.
They can't hear Mooch.
It's because I have that Yeti blackout right now, man. Hear who? Y9, it is a quality microphone. Mooch? Pred? And if I ever get sponsored by them, I will tell people to buy it. There we go. Hey, Mooch, remember when this happens to like one random panel member? Like, you ever know? It happened to me like twice. It happened to I forgot who else.
It happened to me on Boom's channel Monday, where every time it just randomly wouldn't let me talk.
I think this is a Discord issue.
Everybody but Mooch. It sounds like.
Yeah.
All right.
Can a panel hear me? That is the real question.
We hear everyone but Mooch.
Let me go to live and see if I can hear Mooch.
Somebody said, yeah, Mooch is resetting his mic and everything. Yo, shout out to Judah. He said the problem is Mooch is not yelling. That's pretty much why you guys can't hear him right now. We hear everyone. Go into your Discord settings for your mic and make sure everything is where it should be. Somebody said, yeah, Mooch is resetting his mic and everything. Yo, shout out to Judah. He said the problem is Mooch is not yelling. That's pretty much why you guys can't hear him right now. We hear everyone. Go into your Discord settings for your mic and make sure everything is where it should be. Somebody said, yeah, Mooch is resetting his mic and everything. Yo, shout out to Judah. He said the problem is Mooch is not yelling. That's pretty much why you guys can't hear him right now.
Mooch. Make sure the course isn't muted and
we hear everyone. Go into your Discord settings for your mic and make sure everything is where it should be. Okay.
we'll look at the voice meter.
Oh, I found it. Guys, I found it. It's a miracle. It's a
people.
Christmas miracle.
I think we got it.
Oh,
in
God,
October.
Jedi.
All right, thanks, Jay. I appreciate that.
Another angel just got its
Can you guys
microphone.
let everybody know that I got it fixed finally. My apologies to everybody. Make sure that I
Okay.
can hear me.
Mooch said he got it fixed.
Can everybody hear me now? I think everybody can hear me now.
This is loopy now.
Yeah, something's loopy. I'll tell you that much.
We'll look
this
at
is
the
crazy.
voice meter.
Oh, I
and-
found it. Guys, I found it.
He
All right,
found
it's
it.
a miracle.
We got
It's
it,
a
people.
Christmas
Never
miracle.
mind.
Okay, so there we go, guys. Let me do this first and foremost. Let me say, everybody, welcome to Crossfire, guys. I'm sorry for that first minute and a half of mix-up and mess-up. It's completely my fault. I want to say thanks to the panel. Those of you that didn't hear me, Crap Gamer's out of town tonight. He couldn't make it, so I apologize. You're not going to get Crap on the panel tonight, but he will be back next Friday, so best out to Crap. We'll catch you next week. xBot448, thanks for holding down the show, buddy. That's why you're a usual suspect. How the hell you doing tonight?
Brother, it wasn't even me. Everybody in the chat coming up with reasonings as to why they couldn't hear you, Mooch. That was absolutely priceless. Yo, shout out to the chat. Yo, thank you guys for giving me my dialogue. That's all I got to say, man.
You guys are great. You know what that was? So here's the situation. I'll tell you guys a little behind the scenes real quick. What it was I was streaming last night, and when I finished my stream using OBS, pardon me, I actually mute the mic so I can type out any other, don't forget to watch it. You don't want to hear typing in the background, so I mute that. I didn't realize I had OBS muted. What's wrong with Mooch? Who knows? That being said, let's go on to our next guest I've got with us tonight. I've got Dirt Griggity. Thanks for being here tonight, buddy. And I apologize a little about the early mix-up here on CrossFire. But the one thing you learn after you do YouTube for 4 or 5 years is you really learn how to hopefully land on your feet like a cat. Griggity, how you doing tonight, buddy?
I'm good, bro. Thanks for the invite, man. It's a great panel tonight, man. Let's just talk about this stuff, man. Let's go.
Oh, buddy, I got so much to say and not enough time to say it in. That being said, I've got my buddy here, Gaming Forte, Nautical Forte. Welcome back to the show, buddy. How you doing tonight?
Man, it's been amazing. Winding down the very end of my vacation this week. I go back to work on Monday, but I've been doing nothing but playing Destiny, getting caught up on a bunch of other games that I've been trying to get through. And yeah, man, a whole bunch of stuff just happened to drop in our lap this week. So can't wait to talk about all of it.
Well, we're going to get into it, Forte. And I'll tell you something. I'm a little jealous because I see all you guys throwing out there your 940s, your 950s. I see Xbout that 950 out there. I think I got to take half the year off to catch up to them. I'm already jealous of you guys. I don't know how much work I have to do to catch up to you, but nonetheless, we'll get into that in a second. But then I've got my buddy here also, Predator H2O, who's definitely going to hit me with a jab for that microphone mess up early on. Pred, how the hell you doing tonight?
Nope, I'm not even gonna hit you, man. Like we tried to keep the show running and do the intros while you were trying to get your shit fixed in the background. And,
I appreciate it,
wasn't
Brad.
playing nicely. He just kept saying Battletoads.
I noticed my viewership. I noticed my viewership dropped right when he started saying that. So no, I'm only kidding.
Do when I get my chance, man. What are you talking about?
It's great stuff.
He's gonna be so
stuff.
disappointed in a couple of weeks.
Oh my God.
He could be. And then last but certainly not least, we're going to welcome Nicholas back. He's known as the Undead. Nicholas, I got to be honest with you, buddy. It is really an honor and a privilege to have you back here, man. You do some great writing pieces. People know you on Twitter. Welcome back to the show, and how you doing tonight?
Thanks for having me. I just figured I'd throw this out there. My Destiny is 6-4 because I sold that game the day after it came out.
Wow.
So let's get it going.
I'm sorry for your loss, sir.
That one hurt. Let me just say.
Welcome to your last time on Crossfire. No, I'm just playing.
No! Many people on Crossfire don't like Destiny, believe me. Shout out to Atrocity Knights real quick. He says, Super Chat's working. Atrocity, thank you. Silverback says, yes, it does. Guys, I really appreciate it. Tweet it out, guys. Let everybody know we're live. Let everybody know that Mooch got his voice back. That being said, let's get into the first thing here. First things first. There's been a lot of topic of concern on Twitter the past couple days. And Nick, I'm going to start with you as being our special guest that's been on the show the least thus far. I want to have your input on this because I think it's a big deal. So NPD reports came in, and one of the first things everybody ran to go see, it was the first time we didn't talk about console sales, right? We didn't talk about the console. Switch won their 10th month in a row. Nobody cares. Great. We just took that for granted. Everybody ran to see where Gears was. So Gears 5 lands in 7th place overall for the month. 3rd place, of course, on the Xbox platform itself. Before I give my take on it, I really would rather hear what you got to say. Is this something where, it's kind of a double-edged sword where Game Pass, you can make an argument that's what Game Pass does, hence the reason for 7th place? Or could you look at it as far as saying, the way I was originally saying, that hardcore fans are the ones that have Game Pass and not the casuals, and that's why it's still placed decently in the top 10. You see where I'm going with both of those? How did you kind of look at this result?
I kind of looked at it as, considering the fact that Steam numbers weren't included for Gears, and also the fact that Game Pass obviously has an effect on who's buying it and everything else. And I do kind of agree with you, is like, I don't know anyone that I game with or anything else that doesn't have Game Pass, but my more casual friends don't have Game Pass. So I don't know if that's why it's landed the way it did. Like, I don't know. I don't think it being in 7th is a bad thing. As long as they continue to support it, I can still keep having fun with it. I'm fine with it. As long as it's got a healthy ecosystem within the game and everything else, and it's sold well enough that we can get follow-up to the story, I'm happy. That's just kind of how I view it. And
well, Nick, let me just ask you real quick, because you kind of gave me a great lead into part B on this, and that is, you said as long as it has a healthy fan base and a community. A lot of people are saying that there's not many people playing this game right now. The numbers are dwindling. Is that a reflection maybe on the fact that more people didn't go out and buy it?
See, I don't understand where people I've been working a lot, so I haven't been on like social media as much. Right. I don't understand where people are getting the player numbers from. Has there been like an official report on player numbers that are down, or is this based?
Or is this who's saying it, and then you'll get a good idea.
Or is this people going like? I was one of those people when Crackdown 3's multiplayer came out, I was like, man, I'm excited to try this, and then I spent 30 minutes trying to find a match. I'm like, oh. Okay, this is dead. That's a dead game. I can find a game in Gears in 20, 30 seconds.
Okay. No,
that
I think the numbers are there. I think the numbers that they're talking of, there was a lot of folks that were going around and saying that Steam numbers had gotten down to around 10,000 concurrent players at one point in time, about 5, 6, 7 days after launch. And that
but naturally, look at what Gears 4 did when it went to PC as well. Like, people played it, and then all of a sudden they just stopped playing it, like on PC. So,
and it's also really hard with the concurrent players argument to argue how much staying power a game has. And what I mean by that is in terms of player base and consistency, because very few games scale the way people think they do in terms of like a concurrent players. Like, I remember, I think when Battlefield 1 came out, I think they had 80,000 concurrently across all 3 platforms, and they considered that a great success. Yeah. So, and one of the reasons why PUBG, when it launched on PC, was such a big deal is because it had 1.2 million concurrent players on PC. So that's why it was such a big deal.
And that's a great point, Nick. My question would be to XBot then. XBot, do you think that maybe Microsoft's focus on PC gaming is a waste of efforts? You just proved it with Gears 4 and Gears 5 numbers.
I think what they were looking at when they got into PC, they have a close relationship with AMD, and we saw, we're seeing what AMD is doing for the PC gamer. They're putting out more power for a substantially less price. So, in terms of building a gaming rig, it's not going to cost an arm and a leg and a firstborn, like right off the bat, to build a powerful gaming rig. They saw that price was coming down, and it was going to, kind of like widen the player base or the consumer base on the PC side, and they wanted to get into that. What I don't understand here is, with it being what you say, number 7 on
number
NPD,
7 overall, yeah,
and then it's in 3rd place on Xbox One games. Like, for people who said that, people weren't going to buy this game because they were just going to play it for $1. Obviously, people went out and bought this game for it to be in the top 10 in NPD for overall games and top 3 on Xbox One. So I think this actually kind of proves people's point about that whole playing for $1 thing and stuff like that people are still buying the game. Plus, Microsoft and Xbox are getting people accustomed to a subscription service. So you have both of that going on right there. I don't understand why people aren't saying, well, I guess that whole playing it for $1 isn't true, and people were buying the game.
Well, I mean, let me, and I don't have the exact numbers, guys. By the way, if anybody does, Dirt or Forte, or including Nick, Pred, if you guys have these numbers, let me know. But I do know that Gears 4, I believe on the Xbox console during that 1 month, it was number 1 when Gears 4 came out, and then it was much higher. I think it was the top 3 overall when it released. So you can see that the numbers are down. But
let me ask you questions real quick, because there's always caveats numbers, right?
Absolutely.
Like Gears 4, was it day and date in Game Pass?
No, there was no Game Pass.
Game Pass wasn't even out yet.
And like for me, and this isn't.
So that's the question, Pred. The question is Game Pass, did it help it or did it not?
the answer to that question will come next month to see how many people are actually still playing the game.
Yeah.
Okay.
To be honest with you, because everybody, like, if going by what everybody says, they got it for $1, they're gonna play the story and they're gonna get the fuck off of it, right? So, like, let's see what these numbers are next month.
I think it's also important to throw in there too. Is like when you say it's the third most downloaded game on Xbox.
Yeah,
it's kind of interesting to look at what's number 1 and number 2, because number 1's 2K,
right,
which instantly became the best-selling game of this year.
That was my next one.
I bought it.
Borderlands 3, which everyone knows is one of the most anticipated sequels for a lot of people. So Gears taking third place compared to those two titles, it kind of makes sense. I would be honestly shocked if Gears had beaten out Borderlands.
Right.
Dude, it sold more than FIFA 20 on Xbox, man.
I mean, well, that's in America, and soccer isn't as big in America, so I'm not going to roll with that. But this is what I feel.
In the world,
plus
man.
FIFA, I believe FIFA was only out for a week too in that month compared to the full month with Gears. But go ahead, Dirt.
See, but this is my thing. I feel that Microsoft is most likely happy about this because look, like you just said, 2K came out, Borderlands 3, FIFA, those were some big hitters, and Gears managed to make 7th. Okay, I know that's not what people expect Gears to do, but we have to be honest here, y'all. Game Pass is a big thing now, and 3 million players played Gears the first weekend. I don't think if Game Pass was there, they would have sold 3 million copies of Gears on the first weekend. Gears 5, just my opinion. So I believe Game Pass is helping them, and also believe Microsoft is happy with the numbers. Just my guess here.
I don't, it's difficult to say because when you say 3 million, everyone immediately will start to equate that to sales. It's not sales. It's
it's active users.
That's what I'm saying. What it has?
No.
3 million players the first weekend.
Yeah, you didn't say that.
I think it's quite the opposite.
I was just gonna say
that it came in 7. It's actually good. It's a testimony.
Yeah.
It would have come much higher had people not been getting it in Game Pass. That is just absolutely a fact. It would have if Gears 4 came in third. Gears 5 could have come. Oh, look at that! So then Gears 5 could have been like first or second too. Yeah. They're at 7th, which whatever, they're still top 10.
That's right,
I guess that's a good. Microsoft may or may not consider that a win, but it definitely affected their sales in terms of how much more they would have sold it.
So why hasn't and I don't know if he did this or not. So if I'm wrong, correct me, please. But like typically when they have a game like Gears or Forza or Halo come out, they will jump out there and be like, "We sold 4 million copies of this game."
I can't tell you the last time they said numbers. They haven't said numbers in the last 6-7 years.
Well, they usually you get that little chart, like this.
Yeah, it's always
Aaron Greenberger come out and say some shit, and like we haven't gotten that. So like,
but they're not in years though, man. They haven't done.
I don't remember if when the last time they have done that. But they typically when they hit a mile, they typically come out and say it.
They're gonna come out with something that's gonna say you frag so many grunts in horde mode and how many barricades.
Excuse me, sir. Grunts are in Halo, brother.
Well, also Emil and Cat is in Halo in Gears of War 2. So
good point, man. But like when I'm looking at this, first off, the subscription service they are pushing hard. All right,
absolutely,
and a lot of people stated that with that subscription service and the promo, which people found a kind of like a loophole with, where if they stock up on Xbox Live for like 2 years, then they upgrade that whole thing for $1. They still got numbers that I can see them being satisfied with, because they're getting a consumer base used to paying a subscription service. They're making their money with that. Not only that, they are selling the game as well. The only thing that this is hurting right now is people who like to show off their pride with, hey, this game is only on Xbox and it's number 1 or whatnot in sales. That's the only thing it's hurting right now. For the people who care about playing games, it's a great game. A lot of people bought it. A lot of people are playing it with either purchasing or with the subscription service with Game Pass. It's a win-win all the way around, man.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, Mooch.
No, go ahead, Dirt.
No, it was like it's in the top 10. And of course it would have, like Knox said, sold more if it wasn't in Game Pass. But I really believe Microsoft is happy. I mean, this is my assumption, but I mean, okay, look at that game like Control. That game wasn't even in the top 20. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sure Remedy Games isn't happy about that. But for a Microsoft game to be in the top 10 while it's in Game Pass, I think it's okay to me. You know, it's pretty impressive, actually.
Well, let me ask you guys. Let me ask the panel this real quick, and you can answer it with a yes or no. You can chime in with an actual, like, you know, debate article if you could. But did Gears 5 meet the expectations that we all had on the panel, that you individually had before it released? Myself personally, I would say that I think it did okay. I think that they're probably looking at Gears 4, and of course, if you go back to 3, 2, and 1. It's neither 4 or 5 are holding a candle to those in numbers, right. But it seems like this has taken a step back. And
why do we have expectations on sales with this when we know Xbox is also pushing a subscription?
Well, it's not just sales though, Xbox. There's a couple of things here. I mean, you know, the coalition just tweeted out yesterday that they're aware of some people not having progression issues. This is an ongoing thing, you know, and I don't. This is what I say all the time. There's a quality control issue, and I don't know whose job it is. I'll assume that it's Matt Booty's job. But why is it here we are a month after launch and there's still progression issues that the coalition's, in air quotes, aware of? The player count is lower than usual. I'm with Nick in the fact that I can get on and play it without an issue. It's not a me problem. It's not a him problem. But as far as Microsoft looking at it, it's a them problem. And then you look at it from Dirt's angle and you say 3 million people, active users, stop by. And you look at what Pred said in Forte, and you say, wait a minute, if the hardcores in that 3 million group, right, not to say all 3 million one-to-one would have made the purchase, but if even half of those, that's another 1.5 million that would have went out and bought the game. So
but
as far as sales,
like moving forward,
those are all downward trends.
But moving forward, they're about either buying the game digitally or physically, or playing it through their subscription service. So with that being said,
that's true. I'm with you there.
And you see how much marketing they put into Game Pass and everything like that. I've seen them, you know, tweet about Game Pass constantly, all that good stuff. So with them focusing on marketing Game Pass, you still have Gears 5 coming in like worldwide in the top 10 in NPD and in the top 3 for Xbox One games. I mean, that's actually impressive if you think about that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree with that. I mean, does anybody else have any comment? Knox, do you have anything on this?
I think the real test is next Monday.
Well, did they come in top 3 in sales for Xbox, or just top 3 downloaded? Because there's a difference there.
Top 3 in sales.
Sales.
It's NPD, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Sales.
Okay.
Wait,
I think the real test is next month.
Oh, next month. Okay, I thought you said next Monday. I was like, what the hell's going on next Monday?
No, next month. I mean, that's the real test to see. I'm assuming it's going to drop out of the top 10. Maybe still be in top 10 Xbox games, but you know, that's the real test to see its staying power.
Look, it's a double-edged sword when it comes to this scenario, because Game Pass definitely took a lot of actual sales away from the game, but also you got to equate people that the way that they're marketing this game through Game Pass, putting it out on commercials as a Game Pass commercial. Some people probably didn't even know the game was coming, and then when they see the commercial for Gears 5, they probably just go out to the store and buy it. You know, you got to think Microsoft is actually marketing the game.
Forte, let's hear you. You know, we always say that we have a really small consensus report here. What's your eyes, and you've seen the numbers to a certain extent, from just your store alone? Did you see Gears in a hold pattern, an upshift, or a lower pattern?
Well, see, this is the thing. People that buy Game Pass don't shop in stores for the most part.
I do. Okay.
I said for the most part.
I heard you.
For the most part. For the most part. Like, that's one thing that, you know, when we talk about it at our company level, you know, don't worry about the people that are buying games digitally, because if more customers, the more people that buy the game on Game Pass, that's just a less of a person that's going to walk in your store and buy a game anyways. I didn't have so many people walk in there and just pick up Gears of War And part of me just wants to say, hey, why didn't you get this on Game Pass? And when I do say that to certain people, they say, well, I kind of just want to own my game and I don't want to pay for another subscription service. And I already did it for the $1 and I don't want to pay the $15 again or pay the $10 again, depending on which version of it they want to get. And I said, oh, that's fair. So you got to think, we always talk about the game as $1, but overall, a lot of these people probably already took advantage of that promotion months ago during E3. Well, it's just something that they're continue to keep running.
Forte, real quick, shout out to Salty, who's here, Saltiest Gaming. Salt makes a good point. From the words out of the mouth of Redmond themselves, Game Pass is supposed to upspark sales. So
yeah.
And of course, I don't mean that in your store, by the way. I mean that digitally.
Well, no, that's even what Matt Piscatella said on the podcast when he was on there with on Brap.
That's right.
He said that it's incremental growth through Game Pass sales, and that's why I'm saying even if it's just the fact that you can see a commercial for Gears of War. If they were just to promote Gears of War by himself, it probably would not be it wouldn't be as maximized as they're doing now, because they have more of a vested interest to push the game because they want to push it as part of Game Pass. So you're seeing more commercials for Game Pass with Gears of War tied to it. So that's putting Gears of War out there for more people to see and giving them the option to buy it or get it through Game Pass. A lot of people are probably, at this point, it looks like if it's number 7 in the NPD, a lot of people chose to get it through, buying it through physical media.
Does anybody on the panel, though, Forte, and this is an interesting question, does anybody on the panel right now plan to or currently own Gears 5?
No, because I have 3 years of Game Pass.
No, and I already removed it.
Mine was technically a review copy. So.
I'll take that back. Technically, I own a copy of it because I was given a copy of it, but I also have it through Game Pass. So
same goes for the win. Same goes. Game Pass is, but this is my point, Griggity. Is that I've said this since day one, and Griggity, I know you listen to the show, so I appreciate that. But I've been saying that for a long time. In order for Game Pass to be a success, not for us, but for Microsoft, the casuals have to get into it. The way I looked at it, when I saw it as number 7 on the month, I actually was like, for a minute, I was like, that's kind of a success with Game Pass. But that also led me to believe, wait a minute, if it's charting, that means that the casuals don't have Game Pass. So you can look at this in either direction. You could say, oh, it's great for us. We have Game Pass. We're playing it for $1. This is fantastic. Right? But then you could turn around in Redmond and people are sitting in a boardroom right now being like, damn it! Nobody bought it for the $1 that we wanted. We wanted the casuals to get it for $1. They're still going out and buying it. We're not getting the word out on Game Pass. So
here's a more interesting question real quick.
Go ahead.
When was the last time someone's actually purchased an Xbox?
Say that again?
What?
Exclusive. When's the last time you actually paid for a game from Xbox? Like an exclusive game from Xbox?
Shoot.
I've been getting review codes since 2017.
Show off.
I think people would answer that with Sea of Thieves, right?
Nope, I didn't buy that.
The only Xbox exclusive that I went out of my way to buy was State of Decay 2, and that was because I was a massive fan of the first game. And even though I got a review copy, I still bought a game to support. I bought a copy to support it.
And that's a question for the chat too, because I honestly have not paid for an Xbox exclusive since maybe Ori Definitive Edition.
The last game I bought for exclusive for Xbox was Halo 5 because I bought the collector's edition, which came with a digital copy of the game.
That same thing as me. That same as well. That's the last exclusive game I bought was
physical
Halo
copy. 5. Last exclusive I bought.
Well, you know what? I like where this is going. I think this conversation we started won't be done for many, many months. I think Dirk said
can
it.
I just say
I'm going to tell you this. You know what the overall best, the best scenario is going to be this. What is the attach rate going to be? On a new system when it releases, because I guarantee you that's going to be a metric. Because I can just imagine walking into the store, a person getting a new Xbox and just say, hey, why buy games right now? And you can literally get 300-400 games on the day that you buy your brand new system through Game Pass.
Now,
so that's going to be I think they're going to do some type of attachment rate with that system. It's kind of hard to do now because there's so many systems out there versus how many people actually have Game Pass. But at that point, you're going to see probably huge attach growth based on the metrics they want to do for that system. Instead of putting Xbox Live in the box, it's going to have Game Pass in there. And once people get a taste of having a new system with all those games at their fingertips and not have to buy anything right day one, I think that's when you're going to see Game Pass truly take off, because they started too late in the generation to try to put a subscription service in there right now.
I agree.
Real quick, can you see your
guys, just real quick?
Yep, I was just going to pay tribute to Sir X-Man real quick. He says, this is sad. Where are all the game testers? I've never seen this generation this bad. Where are they finding these game testers? That somebody please explain to me. And then he also just real quick says here to add, he said, I bought Forza 7 as well. Sir X-Man, thank you very much. Go ahead, Xbot.
Yeah, no, like talking about how Game Pass was supposed to quote unquote increase sales. I think when it comes down to it, because there are a lot of games in Game Pass. You look at like what happened with Devil May Cry 5 when it got into Game Pass. People were surprised that, what happened was digital purchases bumped up when it went in there. I think like the main hitters, when you see like Halo, when you see like Forza, Gears, stuff like that, might take a little bit of a hit in terms of game sales. But on the business side of things, if you are Xbox, you are Microsoft, if you're like, you're looking at it as like, well, the original sales do take a little bit of a hit, Gears being number 7 on NPD, but then you think about it and it's like, well, we're getting a constant stream of revenue through the subscription service, plus we're still in the top 10 with our exclusive game. And when you look at it that way, it's like that made really, like, that makes business sense, because you're creating a constant stream of revenue that of course is going for profits, but it's also going to make new games as well.
Well, I was gonna say that you're absolutely, I was gonna say being number 7 in NPD is good, but when I look at the list of the games that it's in front of, with the exception of Catherine, all the rest of those games are all games that came out over the last 2 years ago. So it's honestly the lowest of the lower end when it comes to like games that just released. If it would have passed like something like Tom Clancy or been ahead of Madden or something, I can say 100% that it was a complete win. But you still can't poo-poo number 7 on the NPD, because we all know games like Mario Kart and Grand Theft Auto normally cap in the top 10 all the time. And the fact that it outpaced those games, it still, did well. But next month is going to really tell, because now you're going to have a whole month with a lot of these games that came out over the month of October, like Ghost Recon and Link's Awakening.
Listen, I'm not
going up against that too.
Not a betting man here at all, Forte, but I mean, and if anybody wants to dispute this, please do it. That's why the show's called Crossfire. But I got to be honest with you, I don't see Gears 5 in the top 10, not Xbox overall next month at all.
No,
you see,
absolutely.
I don't either.
Call of Duty,
right? Exactly.
Coming out,
Nick.
There's no way.
Hey, I have a question though. What about the Outer Worlds?
What about all the rest of the games? I mean, if anything, if it holds serve, it still can make the top, because the only other big game coming out in October is Call of Duty. That's just one title.
What about the Outer Worlds? Will that make top 10?
Okay, that's 2. So if you put 2 ahead of it, that's still top 10. That's the thing. What game do you think that's already on this list is going to pass it? Because that's what's going to have to happen. Something on this list is going to have to pass.
That's a great point.
I think Outer Worlds is going to be really interesting when it drops, because, there are people that are dedicated to that dev team with what they've done with Fallout in the past. But when I look at Outer Worlds, I'm not into it. Like graphically, to me, it just looks like it looks gritty. It doesn't look.
Doesn't look like Battletoads.
I was just about to say that.
It does not look clean like Battletoads. You are right, sir.
And I think Outer Worlds is going to sell better on PC than.
So let me do this real quick. Carlos Crespin says, either way, Gears is past its prime, no debate. Carlos, I think a lot of people would argue with that, but I see where you're coming from. When you start getting into iteration 5, 6, 7, things like that can happen, especially if you don't have a huge, diverse or a massive change to your campaign.
You don't really change a lot.
Or your to me, the multiplayer, and I'm not saying anything wrong with it. It's a much more polished version, but it's really Gears 4 multiplayer again. Because I think even Dirt, last time he was on the show, said, Dirt, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I believe you said something to the extent that even that escape mode really just wasn't your bag.
No, that wasn't me to say that, but
I thought you said it wasn't. It just wasn't the thing that you were like, it's okay, it's fine. It's just
not. It was okay. But I have to agree with you. The multiplayer, I mean, it's a little better, but it's not significantly better. It's like, it's still Gears,
Absolutely.
It's still Gears. Yeah.
Well, that being said, let me move on to the next subject because this one really has me. I got to do a little intro here, and then I'm going to ask you guys. Mike Ybarra left Xbox, and this is for me personally that this isn't a oh my god the world's falling. It's not. It's not.
Thank you. No, thank you, Mooch.
It's not. It's not. But I will say this much, Xbox. Mike Ybarra was by far my favorite Xbox executive or employee or gamer.
Dude, he called BS out when it needed to be called out.
Exactly.
At some point in time, man.
Exactly. I've always said. I remember if you go back far enough when Phil was just when people were kind of putting Phil a little under fire, and they go, "What would you do, Mooch?" The first thing I said was, and really it was an impromptu question. I just said, I honestly would have put Mike Ybarra in charge. I did. That was my answer.
And he was on CrossFire as well.
Absolutely, but that's not it. I mean, I've actually had great conversations with Mike on Twitter, and to be honest with you, he seems to be a little bit more in tune with gamers. And I think that when people say that they're listening and they game like we do, well, certain members do, like he does. And it's not fair for me to say, oh, this person and this person doesn't, but typically I don't see much coming. Like Aaron doesn't play, it doesn't seem to game as much as Mike. Myself, getting back to the point here is I think them losing Mike, I do think it's a big deal. I don't think the world's falling down. I'm not going to make it that way, Xbot, I promise. But I gotta say that I really think it's a huge hit. It's like in baseball when you lose your bat, when you lose the number 4 bat in your lineup when he's a free agent. It's like it doesn't mean you can't rebound and still get to the playoffs. Absolutely you can, but it's a big pair of shoes to fill. And who wants to take the mic on this? Anybody feel the way I feel?
I was just gonna say real quick because we talked about this last week on next podcast. Shameless plug. That basically his legacy, like he was down, he was ground level with the gamers, like even with his streams and everything like that. He was constantly communicating with us, talking to us. Like I said, he would call out BS and everything like that. So, when it came down to it, I asked like what his legacy is going to be. And it's going to be that guy at Xbox that wasn't afraid to call out the BS, wasn't afraid to get down, and chill with us guys. You know what I'm saying? Hang out with the gamers. He to this day, he's the only person from Xbox that I got to actually get into games with. And he is a serious gamer. He is about winning. He is about, we didn't talk any drama or anything like that. It was all about the game when we were in there. And I think that's where he's going to be missed as that guy that will.
Watching him stream, I used to watch him stream all the time for PUBG, and that's what got me into that game in the first
place. Me too.
Yeah.
I mean,
you want to hear a crazy?
That's influential. Go ahead.
Like, what happens? Just random bullshit thought right now, but like, coincidentally, Sean Layden leaves Sony. Could you imagine if he took over that spot?
That's a big deal. And let me tell you something. Let me just add a little something here to what Predator just said. I came out right away and said I thought maybe he was going to Stadia. But whether it be Stadia or Sony, etc., there's a few things that Mike's done in the past few days where he's still doing the, gamers are all together, united, but he made a quick effort and he reached out to Twitter. You see, I think he used his checkmark status there, and he quickly removed Xbox Quick. Now he's just at Quick. And, I understand he's not at Xbox anymore. But if you were going to leave Xbox and you were going to go work for GE, I mean, does it really hurt if you got Xbox Quick? It was a part of your past. He was quick to remove the Xbox logo. I don't know if he removed all the Xbox stuff from his Twitter feed or his Twitter information. It's all gone. So I do believe that he's going to come back into the gaming world. Now, whether it's Sony or it's Google or where he goes, maybe Nintendo. I don't know. But let me tell you guys something. Not only was Mike the heart and soul, I believe, of a lot of the gamers' pulse in the Xbox community, but he was also the mastermind of so much of the software engineering that goes into everything that's in the background of what we play on Xbox. And I think you guys are aware of this. that's a crucial piece of knowledge to obtain if you're a rival company, if you will. Does anybody feel like that could be something where Mike got, something, money talks, folks. Do you think maybe they saw a potential in making Mike like either what Pred said, or you can see Google? If I was Google, I would try to scoop up Mike Ybarra instantly.
Dude, he's been there for 20 years.
Well, I would.
You got to think there's no place for him to move there in Microsoft because they've kind of solidified everything there. So, like, let's say fire Phil, and they just brought Matt Booty on. So where else is he gonna go? He's got to find somewhere else to go, be in charge of something, or just retire and go sit fucking Mai Tai somewhere. But like, I think he's just like, if I want to continue to doing this, I'm gonna be stuck in this rut at Microsoft forever, or I could just go on to another company and do something else there. And I think that's the later is what he chose.
Interesting. Nick, what do you think about this? What's your take? Because I mean, I've spoken to Pred, I've spoken to a few folks here and there. What's your take when you saw Mike leave? First of all, his absence at Xbox, and where do you think the future lies for Mike Ybarra?
Well, see, there's kind of this interesting thing going on around pre-launch and after launch of console. Executives change guards, so to speak.
That's right.
Like everyone remembers, his name escapes me right now, but the president of PlayStation left in 2014, was replaced by Sean Layden. Andrew House left originally, and Taggart, who was also part of PlayStation, left just after the PS4 launch. And obviously Don Matrick left Xbox after that. So seeing people like Mike Ybarra, Sean Layden leave before the launch of the next console is interesting. I don't think, like with Sean Layden, he's at the age where I could see him just retiring.
Yeah, he's
and
almost
his time
60.
With his family.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I could see him retiring, but there is nothing to me that comes from Mike Ybarra that says he doesn't have the energy or the passion or the drive to keep doing something similar to what he's doing. If I was ever to lay money down to where I think Mike Ybarra would go versus where I think he should go, I think he'll go to Google because they're going to need someone, because let's face it, he was the
infrastructure.
He was infrastructure for Microsoft. And what does Google have basically nothing of for Stadia right now? Infrastructure.
Nick, you're thinking like I am. It's the first thing I was saying to people in the DMs when I saw him leave. I said, I think he's going to Google.
Like people said Sean Layden was going to Google, and I was like, now, if there's a place I'd like Ybarra to go, I know I'm going to get absolutely eaten alive for this, is I would love for him to go to PlayStation, for the simple reason is there's so much in the PlayStation's actual infrastructure of PSN that's left over from PlayStation 3 that they have to fight through all the time. A software guy like Mike working with the PlayStation team to fix some of those issues they've
clear
had.
Up all that garbage, man. Yeah.
Because let's face it, PSN has become way better. It's way better than it ever was on PS3. But there's still things they struggle with because of decisions that are made in the PS3 generation that I think if they had the right people, they could iron out. I think Ybarra would be a very his talents would serve very well in terms of fixing that back end.
It's a great point.
And really smoothing out some of the PlayStation. Like, I'm not going to say because the PlayStation UI runs like butter, but we're talking like the back end, like all the
you're
other
talking
stuff
the foundation of PSN, and like with like changing your name and stuff like that, all the issues that happen with that, he can go in there and kind of help them restructure that whole situation for the future. I see what you're saying.
So I think everyone here has made a great case of where Mike Ybarra would fit in other companies. Let's just dive in real quick before we hit our next subject. Is this a major blow for Xbox?
I don't think so. You know what this reminds me of? I mean, Undead just named a ton of people that left PlayStation and Xbox this generation.
Yeah, but those were dirt, and I'm going to give you the mic right back. Those people that we all mentioned, Andrew House, Sean Layden, Don Matrick, those guys were the suits. Okay, they did the camera ops. They did the shaking hands and kissing babies.
That's like Cerny leaving PlayStation.
Right. It's like Cerny leaving. This is a man that literally was one of the pillars. He was holding the infrastructure up. This is a little bit more than those guys we just name dropped.
I think this is more on. If I was to put this on level, Albert Pinello leaving after Xbox One X, because he was so integral to the development of that console, and he was such a huge integral part of Xbox hardware. And I think that's what you're trying to get at, is like Ybarra and people like Pinello were more hands-on. And like Sean Layden was very hands-on in the past year when he took Sony's worldwide studios over. But before that, he was the president of the company. He didn't have necessarily the same hands-on that, say, someone like Ybarra or Pinello would have.
See, I think the Sean Layden thing and what happened over there and the whole power struggle and what was going on, I think that's a bigger issue than the whole Mike Ybarra thing, to be really honest with you.
Listen, I got to tell you guys know I've for years now on the show, I've been talking like business strategy, this and that, and of course it's my own opinion. I'm not saying it's right. But let me tell you something, Xbot. I'm going to say this much. To go from Sean Layden to Jim Ryan is, open mouth, insert foot, right? Many times. But let me tell you something about Jim Ryan. That dude's a ball buster. I mean, he wants to win.
He loves streaming games, people.
You know what he loves? He likes to be number one. He's a competitor. Mm-hmm. So the one thing I got to say is, if you're looking at it in that retrospect, I would almost feel as a Sony fan that you got somebody out there that really wants to win. He wants to put the best product forward for the company. Not that Sean didn't. By no means am I implying that. But you went from somebody who was like a decent champion to somebody who's just like a hard-nosed like fighter. Like, and even when he says something like that's kind of ridiculous, he comes back and defends himself like a couple days later in the media, and you're like, dude, that didn't really help, but nice way to defend yourself there, you know? I gotta say, I don't know. I think this is a big deal. Shout out to Butcher Van, who's here. Butcher, thanks for being here. He says Ybarra was the only person I didn't want to see go, to be honest. And I gotta be honest with you, Butcher, I'm right there with you. Ybarra
was a likable guy. He's a likable guy throughout the entire community.
He's a true gamer, also true gamer.
And I think
it's funny. We've asked for heads from other people. We've asked for Aaron's head. We've asked for what's that girl's name?
Never Mike's. Shannon.
Shannon's head. We've been like begging for them to get fired or leave the company, and we lose.
No,
we lose him.
No, not one time was I on a show that I can remember that anyone said Mike Ybarra should be dismissed. Never. Never. Like, not even never.
No.
And that's when I saw him.
Dude, he was out there to introduce backwards compatibility, and everybody cheered the dude, man. Everybody cheered. So nobody wanted to see him go.
To answer your question, Mooch, you asked like if it was a big deal. I don't think for his position that it's a big deal. For him as a person, it is. And it also depends on where he goes after this. That's going to be like the screaming, like the screaming that we see on Twitter. Oh, you lost Mike, and he's on Sony now. Like that. Like if that happens, then I think if he goes to Google is one thing, but if he goes to like Sony, that's a different story. Like I think if
he goes to Sony, I will not be on Twitter that day.
Dirt's
PlayStation guys would, oh my god,
the Dirt Griggity family is out. We're taking a break. This is Sir X-Man. Shout out to Sir X-Man. He says Mike could go to EA with the problems they're having. I don't see him taking on the brunt of that nonsense. I don't see
and you definitely don't see him going to Blizzard.
We don't need no more Microsoft people going over to EA.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what Gamer O'Malley actually was saying here, but he says, Xbot448, please don't. He says, obfuscate. Sure, whatever that. Gears was number 7 on the NPD. Stop 6 Doc, welcome back to the show. Stop 6, always great to have you here in the chat. In the super chat, he says here, hey guys, just started listening. Gotta love the YouTube notifications. Stop 6. Right? Listen, it's not about anything. It seems like everybody's having these problems. Everyone keeps saying that no notifications go out.
They're just not doing their job anymore.
I don't get it because they stand to win. So I don't really get that. Stop 6, thank you for that support. That truly means a lot to the Mooch. Thank you so much. Guys, I want to go to the next topic here, and that's Xbox xCloud beta is out there, folks. We see people using it. I will say, they are really being stingy on handing out these beta codes.
Dude, I'm waiting, right? Man.
Does anybody in the panel have one?
I'm waiting for Xbox to stop treating Canada like a country and actually include us in any beta testing. Like, we didn't even get pre-orders up for the Elite V2 until last week. So, like, can we stop being treated like a third world country? I'd like my xCloud preview invite.
Absolutely. You know what? I'll be honest with you, Nick. I would have thought, and again, not a betting man, but I would have definitely have bet that you had the xCloud beta by now. Absolutely. And that saddens me that you don't have it, because I would have liked to gotten your 2 cents on it. Now, I have spoke to some people that are using it, and listen, bravo to the people. Shout out to Tim Dog. Tim's been great on Twitter. Tim's been, he really spits the facts. He tells you the truth. He tells you how it's going. He doesn't sugarcoat it. So that's awesome. He's saying he's having a great time. He said there's a little bit, and I'm not putting words in his mouth, but he said there was a little getting used to something when with the triggers or something like that. I'm paraphrasing, but overall he said it was an outstanding experience.
Well, Mooch, what I'm seeing here is kind of like a mixed bag. I've had people send me videos of them playing. A lot of times it's been Killer Instinct. A lot of people really like Killer Instinct, man. But it either runs really smooth and they're saying it's great, or I have been seeing kind of like the frame drops and freezing as well. So far within the beta, from what I've seen, from what people have showed me, it's been a complete mixed bag. Either it's like really great or people are having issues.
Yeah, what's your take on it though, Xbot? Is this something, myself personally, me and you had a conversation about 5 CrossFires ago, and it went a little something to the extent of, I was saying that I think that this beta they're way behind. I think they're way behind. They're bleeding out, like slowly bleeding out these codes to get people in there. They only have 4 or 5 games, all first party. And I just feel like those and they're only doing it with the United States, UK, and I believe South Korea. That's a very small user base too when you're talking about all the servers they have all over God's green earth.
Brother, it's a case of Microsoft making the same mistake. We all see, when they did the whole Windows 10 thing and they opened up the beta for Windows 10, they leaked it out slowly. They didn't hit their goal with that. Whenever there was updates to the Windows Phone, because I was a part of that, I was a part of the insider program for Windows Phone, so I was testing things out, and they never hit their marks when it came to releasing updates out to the public, because they kind of they slow stepped their process in beta testing and stuff like that. I mean, they don't have a lot of time. If they're talking 2020, if they want to release this when they release new hardware, they don't really have a lot of time. The only thing I could think of that they might be thinking is, at the end of the day, the highest populated areas are big cities. Right. And if they could get the big cities involved that have the most people, in the smaller space, and it has the better kind of like Wi-Fi and stuff like that, they would look at that as like a good kind of like stepping point for being out to the public. But dude, you're right. And it's something that Microsoft is kind of known for, whether, whatever division within the Microsoft corporation, whenever they're doing testing, whenever they're about to release an update or something like that, they always miss their target date. And it seems like they might be doing that again with xCloud.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think about this? Xbox, great analysis on that. Knox, I want to get your take on this, because Knox, you're constantly on the go. You work like crazy. You work long hours. And I do believe that you've said that, hey, if I ever could get a break, I wouldn't mind pulling up a little Destiny on the side on a break and getting a couple of my strikes in or something. You know what I mean? And that, to me personally, it seems like it's a distant dream at this point with xCloud. I think we're going to get there, but the question is when? What is it that what's your thoughts on what you're seeing from Twitter?
Well, remember, Mooch, one of the first things that I was saying was, right, that I was willing to really wait for xCloud, right? Since I'm already invested into the Microsoft ecosystem, right? So I figured, let me wait. But again, like you just pointed out, them only having like 5 people in the United States doing the beta test with only 5 games available. And you know what I mean? Like, once Stadia comes around in November and I can play Destiny at work, man, when I'm doing a 12-hour shift and get my hour and a half off, I'm really considering just jumping up on there. Even if it's just for that one game, it's really making me take a good hard look at Stadia, something that in all honesty, I'm really not particularly interested in, other than for that one feature of playing the games at work, right? Being able to stream it if it works. Yes. I was hoping to see it with xCloud. But again, They're taking their time with it. Like Xbox just pointed out, they're not ready, and that's why they're slow dripping it out. It's because they know they're not ready to do this. It'll crash if they try to make it. If they try to like step it up, and
Knox, outstanding point. That's where I was kind of going with this. I don't even mind that they have a small selection of games. My biggest complaint right now is you've got major Xbox fans. You've got people like Nick right now that's on our panel. That is, he's been writing reviews. He gets codes for games, and if you guys don't realize this, Mooch is going to be in Nick's DMs quite often. By the way, yes, that's something I've learned over the past few weeks. No, I'm just kidding, Nick. But I mean, the fact that they're only having so many people, I think Knox's point is valid. They don't want to overload here, and to say that there's such a small group, and of course, I'm going to bleed this conversation slowly because they do. Listen. This is not a versus right now. This is not a versus. This is about Stadia and xCloud proving to us that streaming's a viable option. And to see such a small crop of people right now on xCloud, and that it's not a mixed bag. I'd almost say it's 70 to 80% positive. What's your take on the small sample base that we're getting right now of users?
I mean, that's the whole thing that I'm saying, right? It's like they were marketing this. They've been adamantly talking about it. They've been talking about this xCloud for a number of years now. Even putting out, it's coming soon. It'll be, and then they cancel that. What xCloud? Now it's in beta. Like now they're rushing out. It's a beta that doesn't. It's not even a true beta to me. In all honesty, it depends how many people are on it. See, I got to, like I said, man, I've been working.
You're never going to get a number out of. I was actually curious, like how many people are in this dirt? Do you know anything about this?
I know that I'm ready for it. I actually purchased some like controller clips, but I haven't got in yet. But from what I've seen on social media, like you said, it's it's more positive than negative. I think it's kind of obvious where the positive is coming from. Most of the Xbox guys, the negative is coming from Xbox haters. But I really want it. I can't wait to get that invite. I'm hyped for it. Like I mentioned before, Mooch, sometime in my job, I have a lot of downtime, and this thing would be absolutely perfect. So I can't wait for it. And I know they're rolling out slowly. I mean, that's fine. It's not ready. Like Xbox said, they want to make sure they don't have a shitstorm of negative press regarding xCloud. Yeah. So,
Emery in the chat says I think he means doesn't everybody know what a beta is? It's meant to be limited. Well, let me just prove you wrong real quick, just in case you didn't know. Fortnite's still called a beta.
Emery, I just want to let you know, dude. I've been in the Microsoft ecosystem. When it comes to Surface, when it comes to Windows Phone, when it comes to the Zune HD, and Xbox, and what I'm talking about is something from Microsoft in general. When they do updates, when they get people into betas and stuff like that, they always say what their goal date is for it to release. And from what I've seen, and from me being a tester with Microsoft, they have never hit that date. And I'm afraid this is the same situation unless they do something really quick, or they have a roadmap figured out that's pretty solid that I don't know about yet. It looks to me like Microsoft doing the same thing that they have done throughout their division.
So what's your projection then, Xbot, of when we can expect xCloud to be ready for the masses?
I'm hoping that it's ready for when the new hardware releases, because like Mooch, especially on Crossfire, I say one of the biggest things about Project Scarlet is the fact that with Game Pass, you won't have to buy a single first party launch title. You can just have Game Pass and you can bring your system home, put your gamer tag in, and play it. Right. I think it would be a great kind of like addition to have xCloud, because I think Game Pass and xCloud, I think they're going to go hand in hand. And it would be a great addition because they're brand new games. You just got a brand new system. So when you're at work or when you're out somewhere and you don't really want to be there, you can always pick up your phone and play the new game that you've been wanting to play and couldn't wait to get home to start playing. You can play it like right then and there. I think it would be a great addition. I would say within 2020 though. I would say within 2020 it'll release.
See, but this is just so Microsoft though, right? Like in my opinion, they got this was theirs to lose, to be honest with you, because they have more people in their ecosystem. Google has nothing. I mean, it doesn't exist. It's YouTube. That's it. You know what I mean? So as far as gamers go, Microsoft, this is their game to lose. And again, they're just throwing it away. It's another thing that's mind-boggling to me.
But like Mooch said, I don't think this is a versus thing. I mean, first off,
between them it is. I mean, eventually.
Well, I mean, I don't. Yes, eventually it will be. But I think even right now, Google doesn't have all of their shit together either, right? Because you can't really play on mobile phones until next year, correct?
It'll be early next year. I believe they're saying February, March. It's when they're releasing their free version that comes out.
Okay, so I mean, listen, I just want the shit to work right. If they have to slowly release games to play or slowly let people play it, I mean, I just want it to work right. I know it's not going to be flawless, just like Google Stadia is not going to be flawless, but I just want it to work right. And if they have to do it this way, that's fine.
Real quick shout out to Butcher Van, who's just, if you guys don't know, you should know by now. Butcher Van's probably one of the most gracious people in our community. Butcher, thank you for the super chat. He says, I love the panel and conversation tonight. Solid show, guys. Butcher, thanks again for being here. And thanks for all the giveaways and things that you do in the community. It wouldn't be the same without you, bro. Thank you. Sir X-Man also says here, what did he say? Game Pass should have been a beta. Boy, Sir X-Man, he's really angry tonight. Shout out to Sir X-Man. Great to have him here.
Look, let me ramp up.
Go ahead, Nick.
Stuff. All right. So the ultimate goal of this, as Xbox said, is obviously they want this out by the time Scarlet comes out, right?
Yeah.
Makes sense. So if you're going to beta test it, when I was taking software in high school, and this is high school level software, the best way to test software is to get as many people on it to break it, so you can figure out what you need to do.
That's right.
To work on it.
All right.
So why is xCloud limited to the United States, UK, and Korea of all places?
Thank you. What about Canada? What happened to Canada?
No.
I can answer that question.
Let me loop this back. There's Canada, but two of the most passionate Xbox based countries is Brazil and Mexico. Do they have great internet? No. But if you could get xCloud working in Brazil and you could get it working in Mexico, that would be a proving point. You're not proving anything to me if you can get someone on fiber internet in the middle of the United States running xCloud. That proves nothing to me.
They're scared of the bad press, man. They're scared of the bad press.
Exactly
that's what it is. They're scared of the bad press.
If they have bad press on this, then that's going to...
That's exactly
but
also
you got to hurt them more than anyone else.
You got to remember, where's the infrastructure at? Even though they do have infrastructure all across the world, where's the strongest of the infrastructure at? Just like they said, they don't want any hiccups on this, so they're going to launch it in the places that they know they have the strongest infrastructure to test it. And once they find out what their pitfalls are, and they want to expand it to other regions where they don't have as much of a presence with their infrastructure, they know what they need to do to ramp it up to get it to work in those areas. So it's always good to work where you're strongest at, and then work yourself out from there. Right. That's what I think the plan is going to be. That's what the plan was when they launched Xbox One at the beginning. They wanted to launch it where they were strongest at, and then they launched it in other territories later. They're doing not saying it's right, but they're doing the same thing when it comes to this beta for Xbox.
I like where you're going with that, Forte, but I gotta favor a little bit more of what Nick's saying, because the point of this structure right now is to crash this thing hard. Because when you go, and let me tell you something,
they're afraid.
Well, they don't want to. They don't want to crash it though. That's the thing. They don't want it to crash, because what's the perception going to be?
Exactly.
If that thing does go down?
Well, it's a beta though.
It doesn't. Well, you know how people feel about betas right now. Everybody doesn't think anything's beta.
Nobody believes the word beta. Let me preface this. There's multiple waves of this though. Like you're only assuming they're only launching in these 3 countries. That's where they're starting. Now they're gonna obviously expand it out at some point in time. If they're planning on launching it next holiday, like they have plenty of time between now and next holiday to expand this beta out to other countries.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
just a start.
It's just a start, exactly.
Well, let me ask you guys this, and I'm going to tie it in neatly with Stadia, okay? Because I the one thing I don't understand, and pardon my ignorance here, is I just don't understand how people are like, Stadia has no chance. It's dead. It's dead on arrival. But by the way, I'll take 2 xClouds, please. What? You can't say streaming in one hand and not in the other. Google's launching, this upcoming November 19th. Now we have a date. They're launching in 14 countries. They've got Borderlands 3, Destiny 2. You guys saw there's like 30 games. Baldur's Gate, this, that. But there's a bunch of games. So they have a bunch of games. They're going to be doing 14 countries. That's massive. I mean, that's just massive. And the only thing they did prior was a beta that Predator, I know I'm sure a couple other you guys on the panel were too, but Pred I actually spoke to, was a part of that Assassin's Creed demo they did months and months and months ago. And they even asked Google Stadia, they're like, would you guys want to do another beta before you launch? They're like, nah. Now, I will say this much, right? No, they're like, no, we're all right. But here's my thing. I will say this much. I'm not just a client. I'm also a founder. But okay, I understand that. But I will say that to me personally, this feels like I'm kind of being in a paid beta. And I'm okay with that. I realize that because streaming as a whole is new, right? Like if Ford or Chevy came out first next week with a hover car, okay? And they're like, no, I swear to God it works. You know sure as shit when you pull out of that Chevy dealership, you're in a beta hover car. You better hope that thing doesn't go more than 3 feet up. Okay? Because you don't know what's really going to happen with it in about 4 years, 2 years. So this is a beta. People were saying, and the news broke this past week with the wireless capability, which, again, it's not defending them, but imagine if they did it the other way around. They said, Google came out and said that their Google controller will be wireless only with the Chromecast hub that plugs into your TV. And they want to be able to say that if you're going to use this with your TV, that's where it has to work. And think about this for a second. Your TV to your couch is your longest distance, right? If you're playing on your phone or your tablet, well, your phone isn't 8 or 10 feet away from you. You couldn't see anything. So to have that plugged in for the first 3 months or so, I didn't necessarily think that this is a bad thing. The actual controller is coming with the cable, and it's not damage control. It's just a matter of literally saying, if I had to pick one, I'd rather for the first 3 months that my controller was accessible with my TV use because, frankly, I sit 10 to 12 feet away from my television. What do you guys think as far as Stadia, not just the wireless controller issue, but where do you think Stadia is coming into this? We're only a month away, guys. It's a big deal. Do you think Stadia is going to have a leg up?
No, absolutely not. I look, I'll say this. The playing Assassin's Creed through the browser was smooth. I had no issues with that.
Okay.
But Google Stadia literally had a press event where everyone who played it went, yeah, we're in a quote-unquote pristine environment controlled by Google.
Right.
And it's laggy. It's not great. It's got issues. And now people are getting excited for it and everything else. Excited for Stadia, more power to you. But literally everything anytime Google opens its mouth about this, they shoot themselves in the foot. Like the whole predictive button pressing that they were going on about, they didn't explain that well. They had to have other people that knew what they were talking about explain it.
They didn't talk well about it, Nick. I'm going to give you credit there. First of all, you never have an engineer do your sales speech. That's a number one mistake. I'm shocked they had that happen. What they're saying there is that there are, listen, I got news for you. When you approach a certain part of any game, there are predictive measures that are going to be coming, right? When you have to jump over a hurdle, like when it prompts you and says, please press forward in X to jump over this hurdle. Like they already know that that's coming forward. It doesn't mean it's doing it for you. But when you have to guesstimate that signal coming over data and latency, having those projections, so when you press it, it's already fed into, it is a big deal. That's a huge deal. So I think that is that's a tech that Xbox is using as well, I might add. Okay?
Yeah, it's a good thing, but saying that
they preached it wrong.
Something they sold it wrong. Well, no, it's not that they sold it wrong, but they said in 1 to 2 years.
Well, now that's a different conversation. Now, Nick, I'll agree with you again. They stated it wrong. And I wish I had the actual thing in front of me, but what it said was in 1 to 2 years, it'll be faster than the consoles. It didn't say the consoles you have currently. It said consoles you'll be playing. So what they're trying to say is in 2 years, they're even going to beat the hardware you have then. Not the hardware that you have now. That's probably the worst. That guy would have got fired on the way out of the interview. Like, that makes no sense. So it was taken out. Listen, everybody wants to hate Google Stadia right now. And I frankly don't understand it, because you can't tell me you can't wait to play a game on xCloud, but you're not excited about playing it on Google Stadia. I frankly don't understand it, because you're going to have competition in everything. So it's not like xCloud was going to come out and nobody's going to touch them, you know?
I think the difference is that most people have Xboxes now, and it's like a seamless transition. You have a controller, you have a phone, whereas Google Stadia, there's other things you have to get for that.
Yeah, you don't actually. You don't.
And my whole distrust of Stadia actually has not games, because I bought PS Now. It's cheaper. I've been playing some PS3 games.
Nice.
It's pretty seamless. I've been enjoying myself.
That's actually good to hear. Not many people say that.
xCloud, if it runs smooth and it works great and people enjoy it and people use it, awesome.
Right.
But the thing is with Stadia, the reason I don't trust is I don't trust Google to get through the growing pains. Google has never gotten through the growing pains.
Nick, I'm with you there. That's the one hurdle they have to jump. But guess what?
I don't know what tree you're barking up right now.
Yeah, but XBot, here's the thing. Nick's right. Nick is right there, and I'm not going to even say that I argue with him. I actually agree with him. But that's a problem with Google. That's an internal issue, okay? That's something they got to fight inside. Myself personally, if November 19th, November 20th, November 21st, if I go to play Borderlands 3 and that thing works fantastic, okay, or decent, you know, the way some people are saying xCloud's working, I'm going to be a happy customer myself personally. Now, if they want to stay in the game, they need to get themselves more exclusives. And I'm telling you guys, I know I've said this a few times on CrossFire. I don't hear many others saying it. Google's going to play dirty, Nick. That's how they're going to stay in it. Next E3, be prepared. You're going to see them say these games, and they're not going to be GTA 6. Okay, but it may be like Evil Within 3, that kind of game. You know what I mean? Those are going to be year exclusives.
Look, if people don't think that Sony buying Insomniac games away from Google, they're crazy. And if people don't think that's the reason Microsoft is buying studios up like crazy,
it's a great point.
Is absolutely trying to counterpoint any decent talent that Google can get their hands on.
Absolutely. But there's a lot of talent still out there to scoop up. And Google, okay, this is not a Microsoft Sony conversation.
I don't know. The initiative got a lot of that talent, man.
They got a lot of selfies and a lot of drinks.
They should just call the initiative Naughty Dog Jr. now.
That's a good thing.
Right now, they look like the ground round. Listen, I got to be honest with you.
Really? Wait for them to bring out a game before we start.
They're always showing a buffet. But I mean, I think that you've got a lot of talent out there.
The people working there, brother.
Oh, they've got good talent. They got good talent, but you know,
that's what I wasn't saying anything about any final product or anything like that. But
you can't even.
I'm calling them that because of all the ex-Naughty Dog employees that they have there.
Well, that don't mean they were the good Naughty Dog associate employees. We don't know yet. We'll see.
Well, we know they weren't janitors. Let's put it that way.
We'll see.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see. Hey, Mooch.
Yeah.
Going back to your point, like you said, everybody seems to be heading on Google Stadia. I think it is just they're new and they got to prove themselves. Like
absolutely,
you look at the
that's
past.
what Nick's saying. They have to get past their own.
Yeah, they got to prove themselves. They do. Like you think about was it like TurboGrafx 16? People didn't really. What is this? And they didn't prove themselves and they eventually failed. PlayStation proved themselves because Sega messed up really bad, and the N64 was cartridge based, and people really didn't want that.
Man, because Nintendo didn't take the deal. That's
why. Dirk, can I just say something? And I've been waiting a long time to be able to do this. Dirk, this is great. I get to pull a Dirk Griggity right now, as an Xbox fan, as an Xbox guy. Okay,
here we go.
Right? You like that? As an Xbox guy, and we were the ones that came in. Xbox came in late to the party. Okay, let's be honest. You're talking about Nintendo and PlayStation. Xbox is like, yo, we brought the cake. They're like, get out. Okay? They didn't even want Xbox to show up. They're like, no, but we brought the dessert. Get out. So my point being is, now you got Google coming in, and they're trying to do something, and everyone's just like, get out. And it's like, wait a minute, wait. They're bringing a new technology. They're doing something different. If like everyone goes, you know what, Mooch? I would have been okay with Google Stadia if they gave me a box. But why? There's no room for another box. There's no room. No, there's no room for another box. There's no room. That market is saturated. If they don't do this, don't do anything. Because I don't want another box. How many boxes do we need to play the same game over and over and over again? And like we just said, there's only so much talent out there. There's a reason there's one NBA and one NFL. You saw with, what's his name, Vince McMahon. He tried to open up the XFL. He couldn't do it. You know why? There's not that much talent. Okay, and that's the thing right now. There's only so much talent. That's why Sony and Microsoft are scooping up as much as possible. Yeah, Yeah. So what I'm saying to you is there's not enough talent out there. What they're trying to say is we're going to bring third party and whatever we can scoop up, in air quotes, to you guys on any device, anywhere. And listen, Google's got the money. They got the infrastructure. And for people that say Google's completely unproven, I say BS. And you go, well, Mooch, what's your proof? My proof to everybody is what you're watching right now. YouTube. They are streaming unbelievable amounts of content. Way more than xCloud's ever going to put out in any beta. Okay? So there's no way that their infrastructure can't handle it. Now, Nick's point of getting talent and staying in the game, that's where they have to put a dog in the fight. So that's my whole point. All I'm asking everybody right now is this. If you don't like xCloud, then you go ahead and say, Mooch, I want nothing to do with Stadia. And I'm okay with that. But you can't tell me you got a controller clip for your phone and a special set of xCloud headsets, okay? Right. And then you tell me, you know what? Stadia ain't for me, man.
I'm excited for both, Mooch.
Absolutely.
Me too.
I
really am, yeah.
What do you guys think about my pitch? I think it holds a little bit of water. Yeah. Don't all talk at once.
Yeah. How much did you pay for Stadia?
I paid the $129, but I'm getting the Chromecast. I'm getting a controller. I'm getting Destiny 2, the full package, which, by the way, you can go ahead and snicker and laugh. I just paid $60, okay, for just a DLC update. So I'm getting the entire game up to snuff.
You paid $60 for DLC and a season pass, all right?
Well, yeah, but I'm getting that with Stadia. So my point is I'm getting that as well, and I'm getting the free game of the month this month, I'm getting the free game of the month next month, and the free game of the month after that. Plus, I get 3 months to give to a buddy. So my point is I think my $129, myself personally, is just. I sleep at night feeling like that's not a ripoff. Because even if I don't like it, I have the controller, I have Destiny, and I also have the Chromecast. So my point being is this. But you don't have to. I'm not selling you on Founders. I'm selling you guys on the free one. I'm saying the free one and use your Xbox controller. I don't see why this is such a bad thing. Everyone seems to be so negative on it, and I don't get it. And I've actually, Nick, I got to give Nick credit. Nick said he spoke to people that said they had an awful time. I have spoke to people now that said they had an outstanding time. Now, shout out to Nintendo. He's got a channel on YouTube. I've been talking to him. He did an outstanding Stadia piece, and his channel's Nintendo. So he's not a Google fan by no means. He just came out there and did. He said, I tried it, and it was miraculous. He really thought it was great. So, there's a lot of people I've talked to that said it's a good experience, and I just try to encourage people to say, listen, us Xbox guys, like that dirt, us Xbox guys, right, thank you, we were always the ones that told to get out. We don't belong in this gaming space. But now Google's never work. That's right. And now people are telling Google they don't belong in this gaming space. The only thing I have to say is I do agree with Nick. If they're not going to have a dog in the fight, and they're not going to try and grab exclusive content, or they're not going to try and grab developers, or not try to make their streaming service better every single day, then I would say get out. And Nine Lives says,
they don't have exclusive games. It's not even worth my. Most of the games that have come are games I've already.
That's true. That's true. But they're new. And I'll be honest with you. You say that, Pred. But to be honest with you, this Black Friday and this holiday, okay, there's a lot of people that haven't played the new DLC on Destiny or Borderlands or Baldur's Gate. They've got the new Watch Dogs. They're going to have Cyberpunk. Listen, they're going to have Cyberpunk on there. They're going to have Mortal Kombat 11, which people can't stop taking pictures and putting all over Twitter every day. I don't know what's going on.
You know what I can't wait for? I can't wait.
Wait, say it again, Nick. Your mic cut out.
I said I can't wait till they do the Google Stadia bundle for $159. You get Google Hangouts back.
Listen, you know what it is. Look, at the end of the day, my experience with, and probably most people, right? Their experience, I'll speak from my perspective only, right? My experience with online streaming, which is only on live, which was, and And streaming my PlayStation to my Vita was god awful. Streaming my Xbox to my PC is horrendous. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
the three avenues that I try to approach this method of consuming gaming, it just hasn't worked out to me. So, that's why I'm so adamant about, you know what, man, this just isn't for me. But I am willing to see what xCloud and what Google can bring to the table, and if they can actually get this going. And you know what? Right now, I'm probably going to check out Stadia more than xCloud, and I was completely the other way around.
You were anti-Stadia. Yeah. That's right. But I mean, Knox, you gonna work? We always say this. I always give Knox that shout out. When Knox leaves this show, sometimes he's got to go right to work. But he's got a job where he's working 12, 14-hour shifts. So when you have a job like that, and I know many of my friends that do, okay, when they have a job like that, when they get a break, it's a substantial break because let me tell you, 14 hours ain't easy. Okay, so when he gets 25 minutes. I got news for you. I've played Destiny 2 with Knox. He can get a lot of shit done in 25 minutes. So what I'm saying is he can actually play the game and enjoy it. Shout out to T-Rock 40. He says, how about that PS5 ray tracing Xbox? We'll get to that in a second, T-Rock. Don't get Xbox all riled up.
I want to respond to that too, man.
Go ahead, Xbox, and then we'll go on.
No, here's the thing, and people took my words out of context. I said rumors being that they were using a software plan for ray tracing when it came to the PlayStation 5. Now, Sony within the last couple of weeks came out and said hardware accelerated, which is a good thing, because if they went with anything else, Xbox would have been head and shoulders above them going with ray tracing, which I feel is going to be the graphics when it comes down to it with PlayStation 5 and Project Scarlet. Here's one thing, guys. I don't root for one to win and one to lose. All right. I tell you guys what I'm hearing kind of like behind closed doors and in the background. Sometimes I'm right about that. Sometimes I'm not. But at the end of the day, I'm not over here cheering for one company to get out of the video gaming business.
Right.
And when it comes down to it, I'm not here like, if Xbox ever kind of goes what they call quote unquote number one in the video game industry, you will see that my channel will not change at all. All right. No. And when it comes down to it, I am a gamer and I want to see things across the board evolve and get better for all gamers, regardless of what platform you're on.
And Xbox, thank you. I appreciate it. First of all, huge shout out to Delilah HD. Always love it when Delilah stops by. Delilah, thank you for being here. She says, would you guys buy the same games again on Stadia? And then she goes on to say right here, she says, but why would you buy them again on Stadia when your library will possibly already be available on xCloud? Delilah, my answer is a bit complex for just the chat. I'll speak to you one-on-one here. I would say it depends on the title. It depends on the game. So I'll give you a quick example. In a situation like, let's say Borderlands 3 did not come out yet. Let's just say Borderlands 3 did not come out yet. I play Borderlands. I know, and I know this is I'm unique. I'm by myself here, but I play Borderlands more alone. I always have, even though it's a great multiplayer game. It really is a great multiplayer game. But I always play Borderlands when I have like a half hour to kill, 45 minutes to kill. I can just kind of enjoy it, jam out. I like to listen to the writing in that because I think it's funny. When you're playing with your friends and your friends are laughing and be like, "Give me another beer!" I can't hear what they're saying, So I like to play that game. So that's a game. If it wasn't out already, I would have bought, if Borderlands 3 came out when Stadia came out, I would have bought Borderlands 3 on Stadia. No, she's right, though. Where Delilah, you're right, is no, if there's a game where all my friends are playing on Xbox, no, I'm not going to go buy it on Stadia. I'm going to play it where my friends are, and they'll enjoy it on xCloud, because I'm pro xCloud as well. So it's a bit of a complex situation, and it really does depend on the title. It also, I want to take one step further, it also depends on exclusive content. Okay, if my character only gets like a free hat, okay, or a different scarf, no, I'm probably still going to buy it on Xbox. But if in the case, it's a situation where like in Control for PlayStation 4, you're getting extra missions, or if in early days of Destiny, you're getting extra strikes, well, if it's that kind of content and Stadia gets it for a year, then I'm going to buy it on Stadia. So again, there's a lot of variables. It's not an easy it's not very specific to just, yes, I'm buying it here, or yes, I'm buying it there. There's a lot of if, ands, or buts. So, and she says, Delilah says real quick, because she gets a chance to rebuttal, she says, I am specifically referring to existing games that you already own. What will Stadia's party chat look like? Discord, asking for a friend. Great question there. I'm expecting, Delilah, to play a lot of Stadia, especially early on, single player game. I'm not going to play Call of Duty Modern Warfare on Stadia. No, I have no plans for that.
Come on, Mooch. We need to hear what you think about the chat and everything, bro.
Well, man, I'm waiting for them to come out like, you need to use your cell phone. We have an app. There's a specific way to plug in your headset. I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting for it.
Joseph Tagwa says, Mooch, what games do you want to play on Stadia? Well, I'll give you a quick example of one that hasn't come out, just so you guys can, fester on something. It's like Watch Dogs Legion. That's something I would get on Stadia. Because I'm not playing Watch Dogs with Xbot or Crap or Nick. I'm not. What? I'm playing. So if I could play that game little bits at a time on the go while I'm in the office or this, that, or I have a break or I'm on the road or you're at a kid's soccer game, why not? You know what I mean? Now, why not?
Let me preface this to you, because this within the industry is that one way that Google very well succeed with Stadia is undercutting the price, because technically it's streaming, not native hardware. So there's a chance that they might try to undercut the price. So for something like that, for like you used Watch Dogs as an example, if you could buy Watch Dogs for I'll try to use US prices versus my stupid Canadian exchange rate.
Please do, Nick.
So if you could buy Watch Dogs for $39.99 American instead of $59.99 American, do you think that would push you to use your Stadia more than your native hardware?
Without a doubt.
Especially if it works. Especially if it works.
If it works.
Yeah, but if it works, hell yeah.
Let me tell you something. And Nick, let me tell you, I've got friends, and you do too. We all have friends that we know, that we work with, that maybe they're casual gamers. This is something I may be able to kick drive a casual gamer, because you know what they say to me all the time? Dude, I'm not home, man. I don't play Call of Duty. I don't play that stuff like I used to. But all of a sudden, if there's a two-person co-op in the future and something works out, and a buddy of mine, he says, I'm always on the road with the kids. They got football, they got soccer, but I know these guys. They're not sitting there taking every single snap seriously out of the kids' football game. They'll play maybe. That could possibly get them to do something, and that goes for xCloud too, by the way. But Nick makes a great point. Stadia's they're the last horse in this race. They've either got to get exclusive content, they've got to get exclusive games, they've got to get their price down, or price down sooner. Nick, let me say this much. What if it's $59.99 US at launch, okay, but then it drops down to $39.99 the way PC prices drop? That's fine as well. If I see that trend, I don't need to play Watch Dogs Legion day one. I'll wait 3 weeks when it comes down $20 on Stadia. That I'll do if that's their trend.
Absolutely. And the thing is I work. I bought a Vita just on the principle of being able to game at work, because I couldn't game for long periods of time. Because I'll go through 3 or 4 month periods at work where I'm working 60, 70, 80 hour weeks. And it's I don't get time when I get home. So it's I got to spend time with my kids, my wife, everything else. So gaming on the go is kind of something I'm interested in.
Yes.
But I'm interested to see how they're going to adapt it. So many different aspects, mobile data for you guys down in the States. It's quite common for you guys to have unlimited mobile data plans. But up here, we don't have unlimited mobile data plans.
The only way to live is unlimited data.
And I pay $150 to have 10 gigs of data. How fast Stadia?
10 gigs? Crap, what the hell?
Uh-oh. Nordic. Did you hear Nordic?
I think his data just ran out.
10 gigs.
But listen, let me say this much to you guys. And listen, I know today, for you guys that are in the chat or listening later, or even Nick on the panel right now, he's going to go, Mooch, that's really nice to hear, but I'm not living that world right now. But hear me out. It wasn't long ago that you used to hear people say this. And when I say this, you guys are all going to laugh real quick. Do you remember this slogan? Do you remember? Hey, man, listen, I'm out of minutes for the month, so I'll get back to you next month. All right.
Yeah, I remember those days.
I'll see, right? People used to go, they're never going to get rid of minutes. They got us strung up. This is how they got us.
Call me after 7.
Yeah, call me after 7 because I'm out of minutes, right?
So night minutes, daytime nights.
we are all, every single person, we are all in need of the internet at this time. You know, that's why what Microsoft's dream was in 2013. They were just the first ones to say it. That's why Don Matrick said that with like a snicker in his voice when he was like, "Oh, I got a console for you. You know, go play the 360 because who the heck doesn't want to be online?" But realistically, these whole data caps and stuff, they eventually are going to go away. Are they going to go away tomorrow, next year? No. But when we were talking minutes, I remember having this conversation with somebody. They're like, "They're never going to get rid of minutes." Why? Well, because I'm paying for them and I need them, so they're never going to get rid of them. Right? But they did.
Well,
they did.
Well, I'll counter you on this because up until about 5 years ago, we had until they figured out they could nickel and dime us on smartphones for it. And let me tell you, the way they're talking, they want to start nickel and diming you guys down there too, because they think it's a great gig up here.
Well,
because there isn't anybody I work with that isn't paying $150 to $200 for their cell phone.
Nick, let me tell you right now. Let me tell you a little something about the United States. Okay,
that ain't gonna happen.
Once you give us the ultimate, you ain't taking it away. Because I'll tell you, and I'll tell you right now, right? That's like if right now Microsoft found out they made a big mistake, and they're like, as of January 1st, 2020, they're literally going to say, we are no longer putting first-party games day and date. Let me tell you, that ain't going to work.
That's right. And the Game Pass.
Right? It ain't going to work because the minute you give it, you shall not take it away. It can't happen.
Mooch, you are 100% right about that, brother.
You can't do that in the States.
Once they gave us the ability to not have contracts on our phones and upgrade our phones whenever.
That's a wrap.
Once T-Mobile did that, everybody started following suit.
Yep. And here's the thing too. Now, the one thing I will agree with Nick is that they found other ways to nickel and dime us. Trust me, right? So they're going to get their money, Nick, but they ain't going to do it in that method. So, I mean, the thing about it is this. I just think and again, great debate, guys, great discussion. I just think personally that the data caps are going to go the way of the minutes on the cell phone. Eventually. I can't put a time on it. If I could, I'd guess next week's lotto numbers, and we wouldn't be doing this right now, okay? So my point being is I can't do that. But at the same time, I do think that's why I see, and there's a couple people in the chat right now saying, Mooch, I don't like game streaming. That's okay. It's not going to take the place of your PC
and it's not
or your hardware. Right. It's just a viable option. Listen, I got news for you. Knox, I use Knox as an example all the time. Knox will try out Stadia. He'll try out xCloud. And he'll do that while he's on breaks at work or out with the kids doing something where he's got time on the side while the kids are doing their activity, okay? He's not going to do that when he has his Xbox One X, or Scarlet or PS5 in front of him and we want to play Destiny. He's not. He's going to play on dedicated hardware and have a much better experience. There's just no way around it.
True indeed.
So it's a viable option, guys. All I ask in this segment is if you like xCloud, you don't have to like Stadia, but you certainly can't hate it.
Right.
Yeah, the only difference for me why I'm not trying to get into the xCloud beta right now, and I don't care for Stadia. For Stadia, it's because they're only launching with physical hardware right now. They're not launching with the mobile app yet, so the free version. And I don't care about it being the free version.
That's understandable.
Because if I'm gonna play streaming on a laptop or something, I can just take my laptop and play Destiny 2 on my laptop, and that's all I need to do. But when it comes to Xbox, which the only reason I'm not going after that is because of the games in there, and that goes back to the whole conversation about what's inside that package that's going to make you want to get into it. If they would have had Destiny in there for me to stream day one on any device, I would have been like, bro, I would be fiending for that invite right now, just so I can get in there and see what it's like to play this game.
I'm right there with you, Forte.
It comes down to the game for me. So right now, I'm not really that hung up on trying to get in because I'll let other people be the guinea pig for games that I already played. And I feel like, for Stadia, it's going to be an option, but it's not going to be an option for me until they come out with that mobile version where, like, that's the appeal of xCloud to me. If you have a beast PC or a beast laptop, why do you really need Google Stadia? Because you're already going to be playing at your house on your TV or on your PC.
That's right.
But if you got xCloud, that's going to give you a more balanced package out of the box. But that's only if they launch before Google does with their service overall. Because let's be straight honest about this. The one thing that set Microsoft apart when it first came to this not this generation, but in general, they were first to do a lot of things. Xbox Live was the first of its kind with the infrastructure. They were the first to put that Ethernet cord on the back of your system to have you be able to play high-end, high-speed gaming and stuff. They were the first to do that. They were the first to do a lot of things. This would be another first for them to be able to just stream on different devices everywhere you go. Even knowing other companies have tried, they haven't tried to this extent. So if Microsoft can really pull this off, they will be a pioneer in that regard. So I'm really rooting for them to do it because I want Microsoft to be what their identity is. Their identity of a company is based in software and services. The Xbox is just a means to an end for us to play the games we want to play on. But if they ultimately really want to meet the goals they want, xCloud, Game Pass, Xbox Live, those are going to be the three pillars of what Microsoft for the gaming division is going to be going after. And that's why I hope they get this together sooner rather than later.
Right. And shout out to Delilah again. She says, I buy it on Xbox, and I think she's saying she has it. I buy it on Stadia, $120. And I don't know if Delilah's referring to the $120 founder's fee. You don't have to be a founder.
No, she's saying if she buys it on Xbox and buys it on Stadia, that's $120.
Oh, $120. Okay, I'd rather buy it on Xbox and still have the option to stream. ISPs, man. And don't get me wrong. There's two ways to look at this. Delilah makes a good point in that retrospect. But the other thing about it is that Xbox, believe me, here's the thing. First of all, when it comes to third party, they're so far back. You may not get xCloud. I think xBot's theory is correct. You're not going to see xCloud really either. It's either going to come out on when Scarlet comes out or even a little after. Okay? So it's a long time you got to wait to actually do that streaming with third-party games. Number two, Microsoft's background, okay, everything is in Xbox One S. That's what they're using as their servers or their base back behind. Whereas Google is using a much more powerful infrastructure to put their games out. That's why they're preaching 4K with the Founders Edition. And I'm not saying you're going to use 4K, but our phones are all using OLED technology right now. So, listen, it does matter. It does matter. So I would say that, it really, truly depends. You can double dip with Xbox, it sounds like, when they have it. We don't even know. Right now it's 5 games, and it's 3 countries. I mean, that's a lot of countries not getting service. And you got 14 countries and 30 games coming out in a month with Google. And even, listen, Google's not going to come out flawless. They're going to have hiccups and uh-ohs and oops and this sucks. But the thing is, though, they're launching with such a large group and such a big infrastructure. I think that they have, the whole time that Xbox has nothing out, Google has time to fine-tune everything. So I do think that Google has a leg. Myself personally, where people think Xbox has the leg up, I think Google may. If it works, they've got a leg up on this streaming thing. Only time will tell. Delilah said it herself. She says, shout out to Delilah. She says, you know what? But she goes, I don't know. Time will tell. I'm with you. I have no idea either. Time will tell. And we'll talk about it on the show. Because that's why I got Stadia. I think it's a great talking point, and I think it's a viable option for the future of gaming. That being said, we only have so much time left. I want to talk about games a bit here, guys. Jedi Fallen Order was shown again, and it went from people saying it was good to people saying it was great. So, I mean, right? So, what do you guys think? I'm also hearing that it's playing a lot like a Souls game, which for me, right, Griggity, that brought me up a notch on this game. Yeah. What do you guys think? What's your take from what you saw and what you're hearing on this? Are you more encouraged to buy it?
That's the first thing I saw when I saw those reveal trailers and gameplay. I was like, man, the combat feels real weighty. It feels like it has purpose to it. Why does this feel like a slower version of Sakrio, but just more? You focus on it a little bit more in the combat, and that's why I think that game is it's going to do well just because it's a Star Wars game in general. But it's really going to dig deep into that community of people that like those more challenging games. The biggest thing for me is how is the progression going to be throughout the game, and how are they going to be able to mix those two things together to actually make, because lately all the Star Wars games have been nothing but shooters. This one is a pure, basically hand-to-hand melee type game. So that's going to be
Forte, am I alone in this? And guys, please chime in, guys. You don't have to wait to be called on. Please do chime in. Is it just me, or I'm a little tired of being a hero in the Star Wars world where you're like, well, who am I? Oh, simply put, you're Princess Leia's college roommate's nephew's daughter's son. And I'm like, who the hell does that make me? Nobody.
Well, the story in Battlefront 2 wasn't like that, I don't believe.
No, Battlefront 2 was an original. I mean, I think they're trying to get back to the whole original story thing, and that's something that Disney has been trying to do with the IP ever since they got a hold of it.
Right.
Take it or leave it, how you feel about the movies and stuff like that. But overall, that's the idea. They want to, because some people don't know, Disney doesn't have rights to everything Star Wars. They only have rights to the movies that they make going forward, where George Lucas still has the rights and the marketing rights to all the characters that he created in the original trilogies. That's why a lot of people are so pissed off, because that's why Disney got rid of so many of those characters so fast through the first two movies, because they want to start building a foundation with their own characters like Rey and Finn and all these other people, and all of these original characters they're making.
Forte, did we lose Forte?
Yeah, it looks like it.
Well, we lost Forte, but I like where he's going. They were getting back to their roots, and I think they were trying to get back to the new age. That's what I want. I wouldn't even mind. I would actually love it if Jedi Fallen Order revolved around a Finn or somebody that was in the new existing movies. Like I just, you guys feel the way I feel in that whole thing where I don't feel connected. What was the other one? And pardon me for never remember. It's the Force Unleashed, I believe.
Force Unleashed. Yeah, which was a good game.
It was
Those
a good game.
Games, yeah.
But I kept on turning around as I'm playing it in the room with my friends, and I'm like, who the hell am I?
Yeah. Your name is Chuck Lightsaber.
Yes!
Actually, that's Deacon St. John. That's the same guy, right?
Yes, it was. The same voice actor.
And that's Star Killer, man. You know, Star Killer was a character that, that was going to be Luke Skywalker's original name, was going to be Luke Star Killer. And, and he was official canon at that time, bro. And this kid that they're putting in this new Jedi game, forgetting the actor's name, but they can use him in movies and stuff like that, and they're gonna make this game official canon right now. So,
Yeah, Nick, what's your take on this new Jedi? Because I mean, you do a lot of reviews. I mean, is this something that you're gonna review?
Well, let me just preface, and of course I'll keep it PG for the audience. When it comes to Dark Souls-like games, I would rather smash myself in a tender.
I'm with you there.
Play those games.
I'm with you there.
I am not a man of patience. I am not a man of wanting to smash myself against the boss 300 times. I will admit I am not good at third-person action games as a general rule of thumb.
That's all right, fine. But does the Star Wars lore get you in?
But with the Star Wars, the thing that really interests me is the Metroidvania style aspects to it that a lot of people that were doing preview pieces on were talking about, how you can build your character differently and there's RPG elements. Because I really like the set piece style. It seems to borrow really heavily from Uncharted, which if you're doing a third-person action game, there's really no better set pieces to base your work off of than the Uncharted series. And I really get that vibe from it. And I really like the idea that they're just doing this really... It feels fresh to me. I'm not a fan of the new Star Wars movies, but this feels like a step in a better direction. And let's face it, this is the first single-player Star Wars game, like only single player Star Wars game we've gotten this whole generation. Like all we've gotten this generation in terms of Star Wars games was Battlefront 1 and Battlefront 2.
Mm-hmm.
So
I completely agree. It's been Star Wars. Even though I think we've been absolutely saturated in the movies, I think we've been kind of deprived in the gaming sector. I completely agree with that.
Mooch, I used to, when it came to Star Wars games, because, I played Knights of the Old Republic, I played like Force Unleashed and stuff like that. And until I really went in and played them, when I first saw them, I was like, well, who are these people and all that good stuff. So I can see where you're coming from. But after playing like Knights of the Old Republic and then getting into Force Unleashed, I got to say, while playing those games, I didn't care who I was at that point in time. I was in the Star Wars universe.
Right.
I was twirling my lightsaber around. I force choking things and stuff like that. And like once you get into it, I think that initial like, well, who am I? And how come I never saw him in a movie type thing or anything like that? I think that kind of goes away. But that's after the initial purchase and then starting to play the game. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Yes.
So I see where you're coming from with that aspect, man.
And how do we expect this game to go, though?
Now, do you mean sales or do you mean just theme?
Well, we understand. Well, I'm saying sales because the biggest thing with Star Wars is we know there's a movie coming out, so we know there's going to be some type of tie-in in that regard. Maybe not directly, but indirectly. But what do we think the sales of this game is going to be? Because we know EA is up against it with what's been going on with just Star Wars and their IPs going forward. Do we think that? Well. I think it's going to sell well too, but is it going to be critically sell well, or is it going to be just because of Star Wars sell well?
Well, I'll answer you in two parts here. I think it'll sell well just because of the Star Wars name and what Nick said, we've been so deprived. And number two, it got the blessing from Sir DMC Ryan McCaffrey.
That's true.
Right? So with him and IGN loving it, and then the minute they loved it, you saw like all the other institutes going with it. I got to be honest with you, this is going to be critically acclaimed, and then it's also going to do well because of its name itself. So to be honest with you, Forte, I think you're going to be real busy the day that comes out. That's going to be a big one.
Absolutely. Plus, quality developer, man.
No one's really talked about that I tweeted out earlier.
What's that, Brad?
This is the EA game, right? Which should be in Origins Access.
Sure, yes, I have it,
but it's not.
But it's not showing up in Origins Access.
Well, it's not showing up yet.
And I don't know if it's just like they haven't put it in there yet, but like typically, like with the Plants vs. Zombies game that came out, I think today or like yesterday, it shows on there when you go in there, it's free with Origins Access. Not EA Access, Origins Access on PC.
Yeah, on PC.
Not Star Wars.
But Respawn, who also did Titanfall, did the same thing. And they're the people who are doing this game. So,
let me tell you guys something. I think he's a talented man. But that Vince Zampella, man, I wouldn't trust him as far as I could throw him. He's a great guy.
Apex gave you like what 10, 20,000 battle points if you had EA Origin Access.
But see, if you have Origins Access, basically what's supposed to happen is that game is free. It comes up in your library.
Plus, it's already a free game. That's why.
Apex is free. But like, if you have for all the other games that have come out since they created Origins Access, with the exception of like Titanfall, I don't think Origins Access was a thing back then. But
no, it wasn't.
Every game that's come out on Origins Access has been, included in your subscription. However, this game is not. And Titanfall 2, even though we had EA Access, we didn't get all the free shit that we were supposed to get, like the trial or whatever it was supposed to be. You didn't get that with Titanfall. And so now I'm questioning Respawn as if this is still going to be the same with this game.
Man, Vince Zampella is sitting on the board at EA. Anything could be possible.
That's my whole thing. I got to agree with Forte there. If that's what you saw with Titanfall, how would we think any differently now?
I would say that when Respawn got bought, they might have put to protect themselves.
Absolutely, Nick.
I definitely think, because let's face it, Respawn's made up of former Call of Duty developers from Infinity Ward. So that means they dealt with Activision. So I think they kind of know how to protect themselves to a certain extent. So it wouldn't surprise me if they've got something in their contract that says EA can't put their games in Origin Access or EA Access for X amount of time. But I also have to admit, though, it's kind of shady in terms of EA, because the pitch of Origin Access, or that premium version of Origin Access, was that you could get everything.
That's right. There's no asterisks. It says you can't get Respawn games.
Premier. Origins Premier, not Origin.
Yeah, I knew exactly what you meant.
Well, go ahead, Nick. I'm sorry.
I think they need to address that, because like if we're still in till launch, so if it pops in there in the next couple, no harm. But if it isn't in there day one, then I think EA needs to be asked some serious questions about why it isn't there.
Yeah, shout out to Delirium Blades. He says if it's not in there, he says he's out. He's leaving the that Premier access. Are you also out, Pred, if that's not in there?
I actually don't have Premiere right now.
I was
waiting before because I wanted to see if this game was going to be in there or not. Because I actually looked online today and I was like, let me go ahead and up my subscription, and get this game because like when I've had it in the past, like I got, not only did I get Madden early, like I got it like almost like 3 or 4 days early, and so I was like, okay, let me check and see if this game's going to be in there so I can go ahead and up my subscription because right now I'm just basic, because I was playing I think. What was it? Anthem in there before, and I got it like almost like a week earlier, some shit like that. So, and that carried.
That
over.
means you were done a week earlier than everybody else playing that game.
I was done, and I moved over to the Xbox version when it came out. But go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, I was gonna. Yeah, go ahead.
So, like with this game, I'm like, okay, let me check and see if this is in here, so I can go ahead and change my subscription from basic to Premier to get this game and play the single player game. So let me check it out. And I go in there and it's not showing up. It's showing up on Premier Access. So I'm like, okay, maybe something's wrong. So let me check and see what's come out recently. So I look on, Plants vs. Zombies, the new ones that just came out. That's showing up on there. I go to Madden, that's showing up on there. And I'm like, well, fuck. So like that was my first question this morning. I was like, well, wait, is this game not on here? And I started thinking about who made it, Respawn. And I started thinking about Titanfall. And I was like, oh crap. So maybe this isn't the thing. Maybe they're not doing this. Now I can get my discount, my 10% off for it, even on Xbox, you get that 10%. But like with Premiere, you're supposed to get the game not only early,
a week early.
Show up it's supposed to show up in your library as well. Yeah. Which it's not doing.
Yeah, I'm looking at my library right now, and yeah, it's not showing up. I will tell you right now. The only reason I have Origin access is because I knew Star Wars is coming out at the end of the year, and I was assuming. Shame on me for assuming because I plopped down that $100 that day because I wanted to play Anthem a week earlier, and I put my 40 hours into Anthem, and I was done with it by the time it launched on all other consoles. But I was thinking to myself, I was like, well, at least I got Star Wars. Like you said, I got Madden early. I got Star Wars. I played Apex, so I got the battle credit stuff. And I was like, well, the money will be safely good because Star Wars is coming out at the end of the year. Mm-hmm. And seeing this not in my library right now is telling me that when my subscription is up in February, 90% sure I am not renewing it.
Wow.
If this game doesn't show back up in there.
I can't blame you for that at all. And I do, I know usually we end at 9. We got a couple minute late start.
Crap's not here, so we can stay late.
We can stay a little bit later too.
Crap's not here.
Yeah, because Crap's got a 9 o'clock cutoff. I got to be honest with you guys. I got to bring this up real quick, and I want to start with xBot 448. xBot. Listen, sir. Everybody comes after you because you are known as 343 Industries. Like, you're their defense attorney. Right?
No, I'm the biggest fan, man. What are you talking about?
No, you really are, dude. Honestly, I just think that like this is a topic that we kind of got to get into. Like, I know we said it was no big deal and it was just, another Tuesday, but Halo Infinite and 343, they lost their lead producer. I believe it was anywhere from 2 to 3 weeks ago. It was just reported this past week. And they had lost a creative director a short time back again. I understand that they're a party or a group of 500 or something like that. But
yeah,
does this bother you at all?
To be honest, I mean, 343
concern you, not bother you.
343 came out and tried to let people know, don't worry about the progress of the game. Everything is still on track and all that good stuff. So when it comes down to it, I'm really not worried. And if there is something to be concerned about, I will find out when the game does release. And when it does release, I mean, let's be real here. It's on Game Pass, and you guys don't see me.
Uh-oh.
You guys don't see me like killing my subscription to Game Pass anytime soon. All right.
No, but I don't think that Xbox. I don't think it's. Here's the thing. I don't think what you said leads me with less confidence than before I even asked the question. to say that we have Game Pass as a crutch.
I can go through and say that there are millions of reasons why people leave development studios and all that good stuff. But we've all heard that before. So why would I say it again?
No, but xBot, let me tie something into, I don't know if it was Predator, it could have been Nick that brought it up earlier, and pardon me not for remember, it was the beginning of the show. But when we were talking about Ybarra when he left, and we were talking about Layden when he left, and xBot, you might have even touched on this yourself. You said the one thing that I found puzzling is that usually they leave, after the launch. This is before the launch of the consoles. This is a year before your baby's born, right? This is before their baby's born. They worked so hard on creating this baby. And now the baby's about to be born, and they're like, I'm out! And, I understand that this happens on Tuesdays, and I get all that. I really do.
Again, when it comes down to
these are big names.
There weren't, but see, and here's the thing. Like, when Sean Layden left, there were rumors about a power struggle within Sony.
Is there a power struggle at 343, maybe?
Here's the thing. There hasn't been any rumors. There hasn't been any whispering about yet. All right. But when it comes down to it, and I haven't heard anything kind of like behind the scenes that, there's a group of developers that want to go one direction, but other developers want to go this direction. I haven't heard anything about Microsoft like kind of throwing their hand down and said, we need to do this with this game, and developers saying, no, we want to do that. I haven't heard anything
I agree,
about any type of turmoil. So when it comes down to it, like when people leave, if there's some type of turmoil or something like that, these reporters, they'll get it out there, at least in terms of, this is what we heard, this is a rumor, and there was nothing about that. So with there being no kind of like negative stigma going on right now about this person, lead producer, leaving 343, leaving the Halo game, I'm not too concerned about it right now. And like, I don't know. I'm still hyped for the game. Right. I can't wait to see more. We're going to see it at E3. And we can move on from there. Now, within the time span, if more and more things come out, more and more people leave 343 that are integral to the development of Halo, I will be the first one out there on Twitter like, yo, I don't know what's going on in 343. Somebody needs to do, there needs to be some gut checking over there. What's going on? Why are these people leaving? But as of right now, there's been no kind of like rumor of any type of like civil war going on within 343. There's been no kind of like negative rumors about the development of Halo.
Listen, let's just speculate for a second, and I'll go to Nick real quick because give xBot a break. Nick, right? Nick, what's your take on the situation with a producer, a creative director, and let's put that aside for a second. If this game doesn't live up to not my standards, who cares what Mooch thinks? If it doesn't live up to Halo standards, is it time that maybe Bonnie Ross has to take a step down as the head of 343?
I don't know about taking a step down, but I am firmly been in the camp that I'm really not been a fan of 343's Halo games.
Right.
There's always something with them. There's it's either the multiplayer or the single player. They can nail one, then they screw up the other. And it's just an alternating thing with them. Like Halo 5 multiplayer, amazing. Story,
yeah.
And that's the thing for me is like, for me, they need to bring the heat on both ends. Like, this isn't a game where I'm going to be satisfied. Oh, the player was really good, but the multiplayer, I don't care. Like, I played game tournaments for Halo Reach. I did MLG tournaments. I did all that kind of crap. I love Halo. I love the competitive side of Halo. I also love the storytelling. There's no reason they can't do both. Right. However, with people leaving and their past track record, my faith is just not there. Like, I'm not saying you guys sit there on social media and go, Halo Infinite's going to be crap because 2 people left or anything like that. But to say I have faith in them would be taking it too far. I don't wish any ill will 3, but I do not have a lot of confidence in them being able to nail this game from one end to the other. But that being said, if they prove me wrong, I will completely own that they proved me wrong.
Right. Okay. Yeah. That's respectable, but I mean, listen. Shout out to Delilah again. Delilah's fantastic. Honestly, she makes such great debate. And Delilah, if I'm reading it wrong, let me know, guys. Also, let me know in the chat too. She says here, I just want to read what Delilah said because it was outstanding. She said something about it being a face story, which I think she means like this is something like that is out there on the top news page, but realistically, it's no big deal. And Delilah, if I'm reading that wrong, please do correct me. But what I said to her in response was, I kind of look at it as like an onion, and on the face, it's not too bad. But as you peel the onion back,
you start to cry.
You start to find out more and more about it. I think Delilah says here, this story just pisses me off. There's literally nothing to see here, folks.
See, and that's what I'm thinking. And Delilah would know. Like that's one thing I've come to know.
She would
about
know.
Delilah
That's
with
true.
Microsoft, and especially with 343. Delilah would know if there is cause for concern.
Okay, that's fine. And Delilah, listen, you are in the know. All I'm saying is that, kind of agreeing with Nick a little bit. I haven't been a big fan of the 343 Halo. Myself, I don't hate it, but they don't really hold a candle to Bungie's Halo. Again, if xBot was to say, nope, you're full of crap, I love it. I love them both equally. I respect xBot. I do. xBot, I respect that.
Yeah.
So Delilah,
I think too is if Halo Infinite comes out and it disappoints some people, I really hope they don't go back to this point and go, this is the point where it went wrong, because 2 people leaving a 500-person team isn't that big of it's in the grand scheme of things.
No big deal.
Anyone that works I work in a warehouse environment for a hydroelectric company, and there's 7 of us. If 2 of us left, that would be a huge internal climate change, because that's almost a quarter of our workforce.
Absolutely.
But if you work in an environment where you've got 500 people working towards a common goal, you lose 2 wheels. It's not the end of the world. It'd be the same kind of thing if. I don't know. I wouldn't say it's the same thing, but if Cory Barlog had left Sony Santa Monica before God of War had finished, that would be a huge headline. But at the same time, creative directors,
it would be all right.
Things would have been all right, because the thing is what people don't understand about games development is certain roles do less and less work depending on where they are in the development cycle.
Great point.
So. I'm not going to pretend to have all the answers of what does a lead producer do all the way up till launch day, or how much does this person have on their table, et cetera, et cetera. I want to believe 343 will be okay, and I want it will be a great game.
I just want to let you guys know that, again, behind closed, take this with a grain of salt. What I'm hearing about the development of Halo Infinite, I'm hearing it's on track. I'm hearing that people, it's going to be a jaw drop moment when they actually show this game off, with the new engine that they built this engine to build this game on, knowing the type of game they wanted to make. All right. So with that being said, they put all that money, developed this engine, knew exactly what direction they were going for the first time. Possibly in 343's entire kind of lifespan as a development studio, they know what direction they're going now with the Halo franchise. And I'm really excited. Everything I'm hearing so far has been positive. And just one more thing, guys. # ray tracing. That's all I'm going to say.
Wow.
Nah, dude. So, all right. So I don't have a problem. I think Delilah's right. I think there is really nothing to see here. But for me, the reason I look at it kind of just side eye is because it's just another thing for 343. It's I understand people come and people go. Figureheads change, positions change all the time. It's just the thing. I guess for me, Halo is one of my favorite franchises ever. That and Mass Effect is 1 and 2 for me. And for Halo to be where it is, in the mind share of people, really just it's something that I never thought would just happen, it kind of has. 343, like you said, hasn't put it together in the last 2 games. Four had
and those are the games that they have been in charge with. So those are the
games. So they haven't put it together. And it's like, what have you done for me lately? The last time I was truly excited for a Halo game was Master Chief Collection, and they dropped the ball on that game.
Oh my goodness! I was so mad that dropped it.
Let me tell you, and this goes down to my deeper part of why I'm kind of like iffy on Halo, is because Master Chief Collection was a chance for me to completely walk away from Destiny. I hated Destiny and Destiny 1 because the story was trash and the game was absolute garbage, and I felt like Bungie lied to us. And the only reason I wanted Destiny is because of the story they promised us. Yeah. And guess what? I told all my friends then, when Master Chief Collection comes out, I'm out. I'm never coming back to this game. I'm going to play Halo. I'm doing all the campaign missions, and I'm running matchmaking and MP for the rest of my life. And that game came out broken. And I was like, well, guess I'm going back to the game that is the closest to this. And guess what? That game now is better than what Halo can ever be. Yeah. Destiny is a better game right now. And for me, that is heartbreaking because I want Halo to be great. But all these things just keep adding up for 343. Yes, they have a 600-man studio. Yes, they have a new engine. Yes, they have all these things. But guess what? Bonnie Ross is still at the top of that studio. The person that is in charge of all the things and all the decisions that's been made in Halo for the last 5 or 6, 7 years. And until I see it for myself be what I want it to be, I'm just going to be like, well, I guess this is just how it's going to be with Halo until we can put it all together, because it's not that it's going to be a bad game, because I hope it's a great game. I'm going to get it day one. I'm going to buy Halo. Forget Game Pass. I'm buying the game because I love Halo. I'm going to buy the collector's edition. I'm going to buy the system. If there's a system of that game, I'm going to buy it. But guess what? A lot of people just don't understand why Halo is the way it is. And when they hear things like this come from the studio a year ahead of time, all it is just red flags going off for them, because they're like, this is just another thing for 343 to deal with.
People are looking for red flags right now. Yo,
that's because it's Halo. That's because it's Halo.
And dude, you've been a part of the Halo community. It's one of the most toxic communities in the video game industry, man. So at the end of the day, I don't think they're ever gonna like please everybody when it comes to a Halo game. They never have. Bungie never did either. Let's be real. I've been through the whole lifespan of the Halo franchise, and there was always people unhappy with things, and they're never gonna make everybody happy with that. But I'm glad that when you look at 343, Halo 4 had an absolutely amazing campaign, and the multiplayer fell off the cliff, right? Then you look at Halo 5, and it was the opposite way around. Halo 5's multiplayer is probably like my multiplayer of the generation. I put so many hours into that. I got every single piece of armor, vehicle, and weapon without spending a dime. And it was just so much fun to play. So many friends I created in that community playing Halo 5 multiplayer. And all they have to do now is take the good story, the good multiplayer, and put it together for Halo Infinite. I'm excited because they know where they want to go with this franchise now. And I can't wait to see when they unveil it, what the gamers out there.
I think I got to be honest with you, xBot, you made a great case. I got to be honest with you. You know, while Forte was speaking, I lit a match. This man was preaching, and I got to be honest with you, he's right. And I'll tell you, xBot, I don't blame you for your stance whatsoever, but I do think that 343, I use the words that we use on Twitter, and I don't mean them as harshly, but I say they're kind of on notice, because you heard Nick say it, you hear Gaming Forte say it, you're going to hear me say it. I think xBot, I think you're holding out here, and I don't blame you. But if 343 doesn't deliver this time, I think there either needs to be a unbelievable change in leadership at 343, or Halo may have jumped the shark. I don't know. It's one or the other, because this is I have full faith, by the way. I'm with you, xBot. I think Infinite's going to be revolutionary, change the way we look at Halo, and bring new gamers into the Halo universe. But if for some reason they're not able to capture that, and they make a huge flub again, Halo is in trouble.
And that's the thing.
Point.
Look at Gears of War. Gears of War changed a lot of stuff, and we still don't think Gears of War gets the credit it needs to get because it's on the 5th game, and people are kind of fatigued from it. So what happens if Halo does just come out the box and it's this great game, but it kind of hits the same reception as Gears did? It probably will be way better than Gears. I think its sales will be way better because Halo is that type of household name that can do it.
There's a bigger gaming community watching it right now. Like people underestimate the Halo community from what I call the Halo purists out there that want like Halo 3 done over and over again. They're watching this game and its development. The newer people that got into let's be real here. Halo 5 for what they did with the story, the multiplayer had millions of people playing that on a daily basis for like 3 years at least. You see what I'm saying? So there's a newer group of people as well that are also focusing on what they're doing with this next Halo. It's like all eyes are on Halo Infinite right now.
All right, so this is going to be the test then. The test is going to be this. We'll see how relevant Halo is in the eyes of a lot of people because when Halo 5 does launch on PC, whenever the hell that's going to be, and we all know the multiplayer is the strong part of that game. That's the part that everybody on PC for Steam is really looking forward to. They're looking forward to that game. They're looking forward to the Master Chief Collection hitting Steam, and they can go on there and they can do what they need to do. I just think at that point, we'll see how relevant the game with that game and that franchise truly is, because that's going to be the lead up to what we hope is going to be a marketing blitz for Halo Infinite. Because if they can get people in and excited and playing those games and say, hey, this is actually really good, can't wait to see what they do with the next version of the game when it does release, then you might be on to something. Because I was talking a whole bunch of mess on Brap saying that the Scarlet's going to outsell PS4, PS5 because of Halo, because I think the acquisition of Ninja, streaming the game, getting a lot of eyes on it on Twitch and Mixer, that was going to be something that was going to market the game, and it was going to get people to want to either get it through Game Pass or get it through a system.
The marketing for Halo 5 was absolutely incredible. The only thing was,
they lied to everybody.
It was pretty much a lie. It was pretty much a lie.
Everybody.
But their marketing was on point.
You're right.
People hyped up. People were ready for that game. People were ready to have, Locke and Master Chief go against each other. Like that's true. Everybody was ready for that, man.
But you're true. That's true. But you fooled me once. Now we're still talking about the same. You fooled me once. A lot of people right now are looking at that. Exactly what you just said. Halo 5 sold really well off a lie. and some people are pretty pissed off about that game. I would have spent $250 on a lie. That's what that cost me.
Well, you got a couple like little cheap punches either.
Overall, I think the game is going to be. I'm hoping the game is amazing. This is coming from a Halo purist. I love Halo. I don't want it to fail, but it's going to come down to they gotta knock this out the park. They cannot lollygag with this game. So any type of news that comes out negative, even if it's just as small as a director leaving the company, people are going to be paying attention to that because they want this game to be good. But if they keep getting instances where they find out this is going wrong, or this developer left, or this happened with the game and it's being delayed, that's the stuff that's going to really hurt the game.
It's going to reflect on the game. It's going to reflect on the franchise. And guys,
and that's the thing. Yeah.
I will say this much, guys. So we're at the 9:20 mark over here in New York, and I'll tell you something. Two of our panel members had to go. The great Knox had to go to work, and Nick had to leave as well. So I'm going to do outros for a bunch of people tonight. I want to say thank you to the panel. And guys, listen, before you leave, something that I couldn't say because I was fixing my microphone in the beginning of the show. I do want to say thank you to everybody, all the Mooch Maniacs. We took last week off because I thought the news was a little bit slow, and I had an unbelievably compressed work schedule last week. So I was like, you know what? We'll take last Friday off. We're not missing many Fridays. You know that. I think Mooch misses like 2 Fridays a year. That being said, we'll be back next Friday. Let me do this much. Crap is out of town for everybody that's asking. He will be back next Friday. He couldn't make tonight, so shout out to Crap. Check out Crap at Crap Gamer Reviews. He's got some daily content. You guys know about all that. And we will be doing M&C show this Sunday. Nick over at Undead. He actually, and I got to get all his information. I don't have it right in front of me, but check him out. He's also on Tick Podcast, and he does work a lot with the Iron Lords here and there on different parts of their programming. Nick, thank you for being here as well. He had to scoot out early, and also Noximus. Check out Nox. Is it in Nox We Trust? I believe.
In Nox We Trust is his YouTube channel.
Check him out there on YouTube. He's hysterical, and he's a Destiny-ite. He knows everything about Destiny. So shout out to Nox, and thank you so much. Now to my panel that's here and stuck it out through the long, non-abbreviated version of Crossfire. Dirk Griggity. Griggity, I'm so glad you were here tonight, buddy. Thank you for making it, and hopefully, as the last true Xbox guy, you had yourself a great time on Crossfire tonight, brother.
Of course, man. I really appreciate the invite, man. And thanks to the panel for letting me be here also. Yeah, man, it was fun. Thanks.
Where can people find you, man? Griggity, you got a video out today.
Yo, yeah, check out my YouTube channel at Dirk Griggity. I think I'm funny. I'm an Xbox guy, like Mooch mentioned. I actually had a video today called The Life of an Xbox Guy, episode 3. Check it out, guys.
Hey, listen, not only is his videos good, his thumbnails are even better. So, Dirt, when you got those thumbnails out, man, I got to be honest with you. You got to look and find Dirt. Dirt puts his head somewhere in there, man. It's great. So, Dirt, please don't ever stop that. I love it.
I love it.
Shout out to Gaming Forte Nautical for being here. Forte, listen, I'm going to go ahead and say thank you also to the Ash and Luca for finding you and bringing you into the community, man. It is an absolute pleasure to talk video games with you, and I love what you're doing. Yobi Dren does it on Twitter. You're doing these great things that are motivational, that, things like respect and enjoy each other's company and game together. You do so many positive things in the community. Let people know where they can find you on Twitter, on YouTube, and thank you for being here tonight.
Oh, yeah, appreciate it, man. Like you said, Twitter is Gaming Forte, gaming_Forte. And on YouTube, it's Gaming Forte. Definitely getting back into the swing of putting videos back up on the YouTube channel. It's just been super crazy.
I was wondering, bro.
Everything. I know, man. I actually got 2 in the pipe now. I got one coming out in the morning, one coming out tomorrow afternoon. I'm talking about this whole 343 thing a little bit more in depth. But yeah, if you want to get on that stuff, hit me up on those channels. And yeah, man, I have been doing a lot of motivational stuff on my Twitter channel. Is mostly because I've been going through stuff in my personal life. I just want everybody to know that you're not alone in the stuff that's going on. And the biggest thing is you can only be who you need to be for yourself. You don't need to be nobody else but you. And that's the one thing I want everybody to take away from anything that I tell them on Twitter. Just worry about yourself. Don't worry about the outside influences of anything else that happens around you. Just you.
There's something to be said about
Forte,
that.
I am motivated right now. I will start being me from now on, brother.
It's funny he says that, but I got to be honest with you. I think one of the great things about YouTube, and I think why people sometimes will enjoy the content of one YouTuber over another, when you see that genuine person or that personality or that that showmanship come out. So great point, Forte, and thanks for being here tonight. And then I've got Predator H2O, who has been so engaged and so into the show, and that means he only played a little bit of Wildlands Breakpoint during the show tonight. Pred, thanks for being here, buddy. Where can people find you?
Predator _H2OS, pretty much everywhere, including MySpace and Instagram and fucking Friendster, whatever.
Grinder.
I didn't know if I was gonna make it through all that Halo talk. I was sitting there.
I saw you in the chat.
Jesus, like I gotta hear this every week. It's either Halo or Destiny from fucking Xbox. It's like driving me crazy. But
hey, we talk good games, brother.
I'll see y'all tomorrow.
I'll see you all tomorrow. And then last but certainly not least, I've got XBot 448. XBot, outstanding show tonight, buddy. Let everybody know. I know you got something really big cooking for tomorrow night.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Well, first off, great to be back on Crossfire. Great to see everybody in the chat. Guys, you know what to do. Hit that thumbs up button if you haven't done it yet. Let people know where you spent your Friday night.
Thank you.
Listening to this entertaining panel. And yes, guys, I am just starting because tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern on my channel on YouTube, of course, it's xbot448. It is the next podcast, and we are going in tomorrow. Of course, we got news about Gears and stuff like that, but we're also bringing the console war front and center for panel members to talk about. Is it really a good thing? There are people out there saying that console wars are good for the gaming industry. We are going to dive into that tomorrow. Last week, we had a record number of people tuning in. Guys, you are missing out. If you're not on my channel, 7 p.m. Saturdays. Come on, guys. You gotta join us. Yeah.
Yo, awesome plug. And I'll be honest with you, xBot puts a lot of time, a lot of effort into his show. So if you haven't checked out the next podcast, please do so, man. It's an awesome, awesome show. And, let me just do this. I'll do a quick plug. I got back into Twitch this week. I took a week off from that as well. It's twitch.tv/themooch78. Check me out. We're doing The Last of Us Remastered over there during the Halloween. We're doing Mooch's Halloween stream. It's a lot of fun, man. We're having a lot of laughs. And this weekend, we're going to be doing The Last of Us multiplayer. We're doing single player during the week and multiplayer on the weekends. Do check that out. And then also check us out on MNC Mornings, MNC Show on Sunday at 11:30. And we end before football starts at 1 p.m. Eastern. That being said, guys, we'll see you next week. Yes, Crap will be back. Yes, we'll have another panel. Yes, it'll be great. Guys, have a great night. And we'll catch you guys later. Peace.
Battletoads!
Sucks.
Oh, damn. Yo, that sounds like